So I'm gonna go over the entire lore of the story, quick form, for my last lore video. Cause I actually read the story. I should know a lot about the story. I don't think the story is good compared to Limbus. I don't think the story is good compared to FGO. It's a pretty mid story, especially if you read any Chinese light novel, any web novel like Warlock of the Magus World. Even if you read Overlord, if you read any light novel as big a light novel reader, this story is mediocre. The dark portions don't hit as hard as, let's say, everyone else is a returnee. Let's say Dungeon Defense. Let's say just a plethora of novels you could be read rather than this game. So, the setting of this game is, let's go over the archives. I'll go over every Awaker is based on a Lovecraftian monster, or most Awakers are based on a Lovecraftian monsters. And their world building, there's chronicles, there's a timeline history, after after the flood, blah blah blah. So this video will contain heavy spoilers. Maybe I'll start off with spoilers right away. But most of you guys watching this video don't even read the lore, so you're just curious. But basically, there are two web novel tier lists. So everyone else is a returnee, Overlord, Dungeon Defense, S tier. And I'll go over that later. Don't distract me. I'm recording right now. This is going to be a 10-hour video. Okay. So, there are factions. There are two universes as of now. Arc 1 and Arc 2. Now, what I mean by that is when you go into this is Arc 1, Arc 2. Spoiler, when you beat all of Arc 1, we get sent to a multiverse. A different universe. The Blue Universe. Okay, well, I'll go over it later. That is how they're going to do future arcs, most likely. You get sent to a different multiverse, where things are slightly different. Different things happen in time, and the world developed differently. That is why we have Genesis units, or alternative reality units. So that is why we have, let's say, G-Doll, why we have Jellet, why we have G Murphy. All these guys are alternate reality versions of themselves. They're from a different universe. They might not be from the Blue Universe. So when they release even more units of a copy, maybe if the game continues for 10 years, there are blah blah blah. So in lore and in game, Blue is the strongest universe because of Tulu. So the basic premise of the Lovecraftian lore is every Awaker or every thing is measured by Gnosis Index. Someone else go up. So this is their Gnosis Index, their power level, their level, blah blah blah. Oh, their power level. It does not matter in gameplay. And Tulu has one, the highest one for Awaker, because he's an envoy of God. So in this universe, there are multiple outer gods, just like in Lovecraftian lore. Now, if any of you guys are big Lovecraft fans, you already know, even if you're Elden Ring fans, if you're fucking Bloodborne fans, you know what I'm talking about. Outer gods. And some Awakeners are just the outer gods themselves. So, let me go into Brave browser so I can pull up the article. So, here we go. So, outer god. They're a concept in Lovecraftian lore. In this one, the great old ones, blah, blah, blah. There are a lot of them. For Arc 1, you fight one specific outer god. Yogg Sotep, Yogg whatever. The Yogg character is also in Hearthstone, also in World of Warcraft. It's a very popular thing, and that's where Tawil is from. So, Tawil, they take liberties with the character designs. So, Tawil, Lovecraft. Most of the characters, you can just type their name and Lovecraft. So, Tawil is based on Umar at Tawil. Again, I will butcher all these names. I don't give a fuck. This is how I pronounce these names. So, this is Tawil. It's supposed to be a dude, but it's not sexy enough for the game. Because remember, we are playing a gacha game. So, that is Tawil in Lovecraft. What is Tawil in game, a waifu. That is common. You take a Lovecraft entity and you make it into a waifu. And you make them less disgusting. So what Tulu is in Lovecraftian lore and in game is the gatekeeper to the big outer god monster, Yog Sothoth. Yog Sothoth. Yog Sothoth. However you want to pronounce his name. So he's described as a person with many eye bosses. Many eye bosses. That is the entire gimmick. And he is the main boss of Arc 1. He is the super god of Arc 1. Reality warping. Blah, blah, blah. So let's go back to the game. And that is what we fight at the end of Arc 1. So Arc 1. Yeah. Except for the name is Tohu Wabu Tohu Wabu That is Yog Sothoth. They will take liberty to change names and stuff. That is how you pronounce it. Tohu Wabu I am always right. That is how you pronounce these eye bosses. Okay? If anyone asks you what's his name, say him Tohu Wabu. That's how you pronounce it. That is the correct way, the player's way to pronounce the name of that boss. So, there are other outer gods that are in-game, that are repurposed. So, big one is Uvosh. Uvosh is a Lovecraftian entity as well. You don't believe me? Here, I googled it. Uvosh. However, Uvosh is supposed to be a star vampire with tentacles and eyes. So Uvosh does not look like that. You know what Uvosh is supposed to look like? Fucking these creatures. Fucking these creatures. Uvosh is not supposed to be Uvosh is supposed to look like this. Not a humanoid. Just a fucking monster. You're gonna see this often. Tulu is the gatekeeper. Tulu is the gatekeeper based on Umur at Tulu. So, Uvosh, in-game, let me scroll down, is this. Notice how this looks nothing like what this is based on. They do this a lot, but you can kind of glean what happens. So let me go to a quick rapid fire of what happens in each chapter. Knowing that, that's the setting of the war universe. Lovecraftian gods. Awakener got their powers. So, prologue. It's a gacha game. We go to Mythtag University. The worst fucking setting in any game. I hate the setting. The writers should rewrite the setting. It's the worst setting ever. We're fucking students in a stupid fucking university. Doesn't make sense. We have fucking homework. We have fucking assignments. We have courses. We have battle records. That's the curriculum rewards. We're in university, guys. Let's go to school. Why not just make it a secret organization? Just make it a company. We're part of a company, SCP, to fight monsters. Why are we doing homework in between saving the world? Why do we have classes? Why in the middle of the story where we're fighting monsters, saving a town, saving a country, we're like, oh, my homework, my fucking homework. Yeah, we're in school. This is the worst fucking setting I have ever seen. Why did they do this? Why the fuck did they do this? So, William, everyone's favorite, is a senior investigator. He's also a TA. He's also an older student. He's basically a TA. He's basically your average graduate student. He's us, but slightly older. That is the lore. And these are all of our teachers. Our mental health specialists. Oh, this is the interim dean. So, this super secret, I will do that, Manchi. This super secret blah 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 school is prestigious. And we keep what we're doing. We're saving the world secret. We're disguised as a normal university. Fucking dog shit. Who wrote this? Just make it an organization. But it was founded by 3 people. Tulu, Alistair, and the blah blah blah, Philip. So what happens is the evil bad guy, Herbert, is the founder of the Sculptors. They're the bad guys. One of the bad guys, okay? He killed the previous principal, the previous dean, and that's why Zort is the current interim dean. She's been the interim dean for 2 years. Just make it official at this point. Just make it fucking official at this point. Yeah. She witnessed the murder in silence and managed the thing. Yeah. Also, this guy's hundreds of years old. Twill is thousands of years old. It is... Yeah. The setting is dog shit. The setting is fucking dog shit. Why did they make us students? So our entire thing in the prologue... the big enemy is the Sculptors and Dissolution. The D-Tide. The Dissolution. So what happens is, if you get infected by the D-Tide, the black stuff, the black goo, you will be wiped from history. That's the whole thing. Yeah, Dissolution. So, if you get dissoluted, all existence of you will be wiped from history. Anything that has your name written on, anything related memories, all forgotten by the world. Now, if upon further thought, this does not make sense most of the time. Like, you just open up your high school yearbook and you just notice a bunch of black stuff all over for all the missing students. So that's what happens. So that's why Mythtag University, when you start to start the course or become a keeper, an investigator, a student who go save the world and fight against the D-Tide monsters and shit, you make a gravestone and you put your name on it. So that when you eventually die to the D-Tide, when you die, because you're on vacation, everyone will know that you died. Because the gravestone will have your name illegible eventually when they die. So there's like a big gravesite. There's a picture of it too. There's a big gravesite. Where the fuck is it? It's in one of these pictures. But yeah, there you go. This is when the prologue. See all those gravestones? Those were old investigators, old students and teachers. And their names are gone forever. But they left the gravestone there because it doesn't wipe away the gravestone, just the name from history. That is the whole lore. That is basically the premise. You forget forever. And there are a lot of touching and sad stories because X person forgets their loved ones, forgets their husband, forgets their children, forget an entire town because of the D-Tide. And D-Tides or D-Rifts are classified into tiers from C to SSSS tier based on their size. And inside each D-Tide zone, it's also called a domain, as they're talking later in the story. It's also called a domain or whatever, and the owner of the domain has superpowers in them. If you guys watch Jujutsu Kaisen, that's basically what they copied it from. Every superpower boss has a domain expansion. And based on how powerful their domain expansion is, the higher grade it is. That is the simple way. And within the domain, they get superpowers. Okay? Depending on their thing. And we use our key, our necklace, to close up the D-Tides. Also, the D-Tide also transforms people into monsters before they wipe them from history. This is our Silver Key. Silver Key is also a Lovecraftian thing. It's based off the story. Let me see. Silver Key, Lovecraft. I'm going to pull up the story real quick. They just made it in the actual thing. So, then this is going to be a long video rather than making several because no one watches this lore. So this is the Silver Key story it's based off of. They made it into a physical object because in this story, the Silver Key is more of a concept. But they made it into a real thing. This is where Umar Terwill and stuff show up. So yeah, Quest of Unknown Catif. You can read these stories. This is what it's based off of. But they made the Silver Key into an actual key. Yeah, and Awakeners. Let's go over Awakeners. So all Awakeners are dead or not dead, technically. So some Awakeners are not dead. You don't have to be dead. So how to become an Awakener differs. 90%, over 90% of the units in our game, they die, we find their silver pieces, and we chuck it in the black goo, and they come out as a unit. That's what the pulling animation is about. That's what the pulling animation is all about. Let me pull one to show you. You see? You dip the silver key into the black pool, and you get a unit, or in this case, shit. So, in our case, our university's special superpower is that we can resurrect units and make them into Awakeners if a person is strong enough from history. So, 90% of these characters are dead. We revive them. And based on the lore, they consider themselves a new person, even though they have the same memories, the same personality, the same everything as the person who died. They consider themselves a different entity. I don't know why. I would consider them the same entity the entire time. Now, some units didn't die, are not dead, like Tulu. Why? Because she's a god tier. You know who also technically didn't die? Riker. Riker just got placed into a furry body. So a lot of these units are not dead. You don't have to die to become an Awaker. But that's most likely the case. So if you like anyone who's still alive that doesn't have superpowers, like let's say you like Hannah, you want to strangle her with your own bare hands so she becomes a unit in the future. Most players actively root for their favorite characters to die so they become playable. Because that's our whole gimmick. That's our whole gimmick. The Silver Heart, yeah, it's a little touch of Jewish mythology. Someone commented it. That's a little touch of Jewish mythology. They borrow stuff from other. There's a lot of Roman, Greek myth. There's a lot of Asian myth. And future units are going to take place from other mythologies as well. So, 24, for example. 24, for example, is not a unit that died. What happened was she was experimented on and tortured, and she became an Awaker by the sculptors. So if you torture someone just enough and you mind break them, they become an Awakener. That's why she's called 24, because she got mind broke 24 fucking times, and she has 24 different personalities. She got tortured super hard, and she was the only successful experiment. That's why we have Coom, the Full Metal Alchemist boss, which is a character. So that's the fucked up thing. You can torture someone, or scientific Mengele Hitler-like experiments, and they become a unit. That's basically what happens with Coom. Where's Coom? Coom is in one of these, so I'm gonna show you it. Where the fuck is Coom? Hybrid. It has to be hybrid. Here we go. Coom. Coom is transformed into a distorted half-human animal hybrid by the sculptors. So this is a failed experiment. This is Full Metal Alchemist. You know, Edward. So yeah, if you torture someone enough, they can become a unit. Some of them become because of a weird science experiment gone wrong, like Erica. Erica is a weird science experiment gone wrong. What did you die? So you don't have to die to become a unit. Just 90% of the case, they become a unit. So all your favorite characters that show up, kill them with your bare hands. Other ways of becoming, besides being tortured or whatever, is Miriam. Miriam can do it, but she sort of kills you. So I still count that as killing you. So she chops off Goliath's head and then reattaches it and makes her hold weird witch magic shit to make him a unit. That's why Goliath has these scars. You're wondering why Goliath has these scars? Because Miriam cut off his head and then reattaches it. I think in my book, some people considers it not killing him. I consider that killing him. I consider this he died and become an Awakener. Some people do not consider this dying. That's a controversial lore point for the 3 story readers in the game, okay? So, Thor, he's dead. Miriam was dead and got revived. So yeah. And Riker just got done dirty by N so dies. I count dies as dead. Yeah, she didn't kill him. She only chopped his head off. This is why I don't like discussing lore a lot too, because some people are very persistent. Because he didn't die, because they're like, oh, we did not. Goliath was not dunked in the black pool. All that happened was she cut off his head and then put it back in with her weird witch magic, and he became a unit. That doesn't count, players. So who else didn't die? Daffodil. You know why? She's a monster. She's a D-type. Well, technically, it is dead and not dead. So what happens is there was a real Daffodil, and this is a fake Daffodil. So the real Daffodil is the exact same. She took in a monster from the D-Tide, a doppelganger, and raised her as her own. And after the real Daffodil died, the monster became Daffodil, the person that raised her, and wants to be a human. So this is a monster. So Daffodil didn't die, but the real Daffodil did. This is the fake Daffodil. So why do they become good guys after we pull them? Even the bad guys. So Awakeners, most of them need someone to link to. They need someone to link to. So that's the whole concept of Mythtag. Every keeper is linked to one Awakener. Just like 99% of gachas. Guess what our gimmick is? We are special. We can link to as many units as you can. This reminds you of other gacha games. Fate? Yeah. It's basically a copy of every other gacha game. We are the special one. We are the only person in the entire school who can link to multiple Awakeners. That's what you learn in Prologue. We're super special. We're super special. Just like the Fate protagonist. Just like the Limbus protagonist. We can link to so many units. We can link to so many units. But I'll go over that later. So, there are a lot of twists when you find out who's linked to what. So, some evil organizations find a loophole. Because when the linked unit to the Keeper, normally the Keeper suffers. You have to be strong and willed. But what happened in the Clementine Horror Facility in Arc 1 with Francis and Clementine and Lily is that you're using mental patients, like, fucking disabled people to link to units. And it worked. So you can also do that. But that's the premise of the lore. Now let's go over the story chapter recaps. We enter the school. We then fight our first mission. Our first mission. Oh no. This is just our first mission. We fight these fucking dirty orphans. These dirty fucking orphans. These dirty fucking monsters. And we cleared. And basically, there was an orphanage. An evil orphanage that been feeding their children to the monsters. That's the simple part of it. And the monster is a weird fucking incel with a puppet. Is a weird guy with a puppet. Somebody go over, and it's all planned by the sculptor somehow. So where's the weird guy with a puppet here? I'll show you. Where the fuck is it? Here we go. Here is the puppet. So there's this freak with a puppet. And they're eating children, basically. Roger, yeah. They're eating children. And Albino shows up, and Jenkins shows up. That is the simple plot. Because I'm going for the story fast to talk about the more interesting stuff. Because this is just basic stuff. Your first mission, you find a freak who has an orphanage who feeds some children. That is all. That is pretty tame. That is super, super tame story. And then you fight Aegis, because Aegis was sad. Because Aegis was part of the puppet experiment. And her eye was part monster. And she didn't notice she was bad, and she wants to die. And then she dies. And then you resurrect her. And now it's all okay. It's all okay. It's fine. And they're fine. Both Jenkins, Aegis dies. Everyone at Orphanage forgets her, but us and Jenkins. Because we have powers. We remember her. Also, yeah, she has a friend and sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. So, we're going into the fucked up dollhouse orphan feeder guy. The guy who's been eating all the fucking orphans. He's not eating them. He's doing something with them. Experimenting them, feeding them to Blackpool. Let's just say, if he was eating them, it'll be a better story. But, here. We meet the whole Pandia, and we meet Lay, and we meet 24. And oh no, in the middle of it, we find out that the sister Jenkins was looking for was 24 all along. They're not biological sisters. They're adopted sisters, basically. Get them brown. And then, at the end of this, Jenkins heroically sacrifices himself. And dies. For us to get a key to open a door. Which is bad storytelling. Why not just use our units to break down the door? I don't think door technology is that strong in this universe. I do not think door technology is that strong. Hear me out here. We're summoning eldritch monsters from beyond the grave. Okay? And we're using it to fight orphans, little children. And they can't break down doors. First, when you start off the game, you fight literal orphans. With eldritch monstrosities beyond the horrors of your imagination for no reason, because those orphans had it coming. And we fight a powerful orphan known as Wrench Jackson. That is the story. And now, beware of hounds. We fight the fucking dog guy. It was discovered that it was the whole time, the whole twist is that during the chapter, you're jumping back and forth, but you don't know. You're meeting a guy named like George and Roger, and you're like, oh my gosh, this horrible serial killer kidnapped this kid. We have to rush to save him. And the big twist at the end was that was the past. And that little kid actually killed the serial killer and became the serial killer we are tracking right now. That's the big twist. That kid was fucked up, a rich boy with a puppet. Make some friends. So, chapter 3. What happens? We meet the fucked up sculptor and the whole Coon Full Metal Alchemist situation. Also, Lotan. We fight Lotan because whatever. So we fight the fucking orphans again. We fight Wrench Jackson. Fucking Wrench Jackson. He had it coming. He had it coming. These kids had it coming. Because if they were loved and good children, they wouldn't be orphans. They would have been adopted by now. Okay? So, we fight in the D-Tide, this D-Tide, blah, blah, blah. We fight that. Lily. It's all in the mental asylum. So, mental asylum, we discovered that basically Frances, which we find out is Lily's mother, it has Hellet and everything. So, let's go over Frances. So, there's this insane asylum or this mental health facility, mental health hospital, whatever you want to call it. You know, the asylums that are banned in the U.S. since Reagan. Where is it? Where is Frances? Frances is probably going to be a unit in the future. She's probably going to be a unit. So, where the fuck is it? Here we go. Frances. This crazy doctor, scientist, Mengele lady. So, after her husband and daughter died, to the D-Tide, she's been looking to try to revive her daughter using the D-Tide and experiments. So, she tortures the fuck out of Lily, conducts numerous painful experiments on Lily, the little girl. And she's been at this for a while. And the big twist at the end is that Lily was actually her daughter all along. She's already been resurrected by another cult. And she's been torturing and experimenting on her daughter the entire time. Because remember, when their daughter died to dissolution, she forgot what her daughter looks like. Because of the D-Tide effect. So she cried, and basically we fight Cerberus. So what Cerberus is, when things are out of dimension, Cerberus is a time. It's like a time meter from Legion. Any of you guys watch Legion? The FX series Legion is a great Marvel series. on the TV. I recommend everyone watch Legion. It's a great show. S tier show, Legion. It's basically the time eaters there. Or basically the time demons in The Flash. When something is wrong with the dimensions, someone is experimenting too hard. They're gaming too hard the system. Cerberus comes and eats them. So we fight Cerberus. Yeah, the Hound of Tendulus. It's basically that. So basically, we fight them. We can't beat them. We can't die. So basically, she gets us out of the room, and she locked herself in the room with Cerberus forever and ever until she becomes a unit, of course. The door closes. That's the end of the story. That basically what happens. She's probably gonna come back as a half dog, half woman monster. Maybe she fused with Cerberus. She's probably gonna come back. If the game lasts long enough, she's coming back. So that was that story. That was me recapping it fast. So, chapter 4 and 5, the big blue storyline. What is this? Not Paradise. Here we go. So we're in the ice thing. It's a whole Murphy storyline, I think. Let me see. This. Yeah, this is still the Cerberus. That was the entire Cerberus storyline. I'll recap for you. So, I'll be going for this fast, because this video has got to be long enough. The story is long, and it's pretty mediocre. So, here we go. Chapter 5 and 6. The Fish People. The Fish People. So, this is the whole Lamorian lore. So, let's go over Lemuria. Basically, it's a Lovecraftian Atlantis. Just think of it as Atlantis. It's a city that's thousands of years ago that fall beneath the tide and blah blah, and they're fish people. So in order to get the full concept of this story, you need to read the Morimens movie. Why do I call it the Morimens movie? Click this button. This is all the backstory on Lemuria you want. This is 19 parts. It'll take you little over an hour to read through all this. So basically, in the before times, there was the one big supercontinent or country known as Lemuria. And the people who live in Lemuria are Miriam, Tulu, Pharaohs, these three, and blah blah blah. And they're all worship Tulu because Tulu is a messenger envoy of God. You know why Tulu is called Tulu? Cthulhu. Big twist, guys. That is why. That's why Tulu is called Tulu. Because Cthulhu. Get it? Get it? Tulu, Cthulhu. Glory to Lemuria. So, Tulu is the new boy king of, he's the messenger of whatever. And our Tulu is a little bit different. So there's also a Tulu story that you can read to get the concept of how he became Tulu. So where's the Tulu story here? Here we go. Coronation Day. So childhood, he was raised up. There was other children came together to who to be the new speaker of the throne, chosen by the divine. So whoever sits on the throne dreams and talks to their outer god unit. It's never specified who the outer god unit is, probably Cthulhu, but all we know is that they're a fucking pussy. Okay? The god that Tulu connects to is a fucking pussy outer god. No balls. No balls at all. So what happened was he won. He dreams a lot. He sleeps a lot because that's a side effect. He predicts the future, and he sees that the country will be engulfed in a flood, and everyone dies eventually. So he lies and gives them a false promise of blah 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 because the country is shit. Bad things happen all the time, but everyone is a believer that Tulu and the god will give them eternal power, and Tulu has technical powers. But the country will end, and nothing you can do to stop it. You know why? Because the god left. It was revealed at the end that the god, Tulu, no longer hears the word of the god he is connected to. Because the god got scared and ran away because a bigger, stronger outer god was on its way. So that god was a big, no balls pussy. That is basically that storyline. And everyone dies. Thousands of years ago. And they got resurrected. The entire country got flooded beneath the ocean. And they can't escape because boats don't work because it was one big country. That's basically the lore. And Miriam is a girl who was raised in that country to become a priestess. She has a dad and a sister in her story. She has a dad and a sister, and she lived a terrible, terrible life. Terrible, terrible life. From the beginning, she was starving, and she became a priestess. No contact with her dad and family, but she kept believing. She kept believing because her dad believes. Her mom died. Bad story. Blah, blah, blah. Became a priestess. And the priest, she does rituals and turns people into fish people. She sacrifices them and turns them into a fish person. What happens when you turn into a fish person? You become retarded. That's basically it. When you turn someone into a fish person, they're fucking retarded afterwards. That is basically that lore. That's basically that lore. That's why all of these fish people, like, snarls and growls, because big twist, when you make someone to a fish person, they have the brain capacity of a fish person. So she began doubting the cult, doubting the religions, whether she needs to turn people into fish people or not. And then tragedy struck. She hasn't talked to her dad and sister in years. Rock slide. Sister dead. Dad dying. 1,000 years ago. She took him to doctors. They can't save him. However, if she turns him into a fish person, he lives. So she does so. He turns into a fish person. His eyes glaze over, and he's a fish person. And then she became super fanatical, super coke-white, and believes in Tulu. Because she asked Tulu, when is the kingdom coming? And Tulu was like, soon everyone will live happily forever in the glorious kingdom of Lemuria. This is basically the heaven thing. Basically religion. One day, true Lemuria will rise again, and everything will be fine. True Lemuria will come once again. Believe. 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 And she believed. But it was all a lie because no one saved him because Tulu doesn't see the future anymore. Tulu lied about the prophecy. The prophecy never existed because that god is a fucking pussy and ran away. Where did he ran away to? We don't know because big, scary, real gods are coming. So the flood happens. She prayed. And in the final moments, she tried to find her dad. Which of these retarded fucking no-brain fish people is her dad? She has no idea. They all look the same. They all act the same. Because they're all retarded fish people now. She transformed all of them into fish people. And if you're a fish person, you're most likely to live the flood. Because guess what? The fish people sometimes can breathe underwater. Because they're fish people. She's not a fish person. The flood hits. Tulu puts everyone to sleep. To dream good, happy dreams. While they all die and perish. Fast forward thousands of years later, an indeterminate now time, a random rich person resurrects Miriam and links to her. And Miriam, being the cult-like fanatic she is, goes like, oh my gosh, Tulu was right all along. I came back to life. She had doubts when she was dying, but now this random rich nobleman revived Miriam as an awakener, because this is the future. Awakeners is a thing among rich people. And use her as a soldier to kill his rivals, basically. Because they're powerful units, just like typical Fate story. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm back to life thousands of years later. Praise Tulu. Praise Tulu. He was right all along. Never doubted him. Never doubted him once in my life. Right all along. Let's get started. So she eventually overthrows the rich person. Then Goliath happens. Then she cuts off Goliath's head, makes him an Awakener because he wants more power, makes him her slave. And Goliath tries to like plot and scheme against Miriam. It never works out. She's too smart for him. But yeah, Goliath keeps trying to backstab Miriam in the back, trying to lie to her. It never works. That's the whole gimmick because he's fucking retarded. But yeah, their entire arc. The entire storyline is her trying to resurrect Tulu, her god. But plot twist, Tulu went with us. Tulu was already resurrected the entire time. Because she's doing all these weird rituals, all these sacrifices for nothing. For nothing. Because Tulu was already resurrected an indeterminate amount of time ago by the university. He's just lazy. So we fight her and blah, blah, blah. This is the last 2 chapters. So let's go over Deborah, her best friend. So where's Deborah? Where's fucking Deb? Where's Deb? There we go. There are 2 Deborahs. The first Deborah, they look exactly the same. When she was a priestess in Lemuria, Deborah was another priestess, her best friend. And then, tens of thousands of years later, when she resurrected, she met another Deborah in the nobleman as a maid with the exact same face, and they also became friends. And she was like, oh my gosh, this girl looks just like my Deborah. Praise Tulu. Tulu did this. Tulu did this. Tulu did this all along. Praise Tulu. Tulu was right all along. He's a fucking genius. He's a fucking genius. All hail Tulu. So, she decided, how do I resurrect Tulu? Sacrifices with the stars and the moons and all that fucking gobbledygook rituals. So basically, she gets a lot of pregnant women. So they're pregnant. So she can cut out the baby and maybe birth the fetus that becomes Tulu. That's the whole thing. That's why you fight all these malformed fetuses. She's trying to make Tulu. But it's not working. She's been trying this a lot. She killed how many pregnant moms? I don't know. A lot of pregnant moms? All the cultists she got pregnant and sacrificed? Because Tulu was alive the entire time. And then Deborah got pregnant. And Miriam was like, okay, the sun and the moons are aligning perfectly at this time. But Deborah volunteered to, birth Tulu naturally. But later it was like, oh my gosh, I was wrong. We're ahead of schedule. The ritual needs to happen tonight. But Deborah was like, but I'm not due to born this baby until X months later. Because, that's how babies work. You don't, 9 months after pregnancy, that's how babies work. I know I'm blowing your minds right now. Especially if you're an ultra player with an IQ digit of 2. So, yeah. Tulu knew the entire plan and tried to stop it. I'll go over that later. So Deborah, this was in the past. Deborah was like, Miriam, can we wait next time? No, next time we have to wait thousands of years or hundreds of years. The stars are aligned now. I got an idea, Deborah. What about I take this knife and cut out the baby? And Deborah was all like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Blah, blah, blah. Knife to the belly. C-section. Spoiler alert. Deborah dies. Because turns out if you cut out a fetus too early from a pregnant woman, they die. Is this how women work? I don't know. Maybe Deborah was just weak. I'm sure that if you go to a random hospital and cut out a baby very early, they'll be perfectly fine, right? So, Deborah dies. Miriam cries because she lost her best friend. But she's like, it's for the good of Lemuria. I can do nothing wrong. she would have wanted this. Even though she was screaming the entire time, Miriam was like, Deborah would have wanted me to do this. So, that fetus is a bit malformed. But they cut it out the right time, right? So, that's where Murphy comes in. That's where Murphy comes in. That's where G. Murphy and Murphy comes in. So, Murphy was picked to be the Divine Mother. So, what happens is, Miriam puts the fetus inside Murphy. Because technically speaking, the baby was already born. She just needs to put it back in Murphy's belly so it can develop and be born and be born, well. 200 I2 gigaplays by Miriam. You cut out the baby early for the loophole in God's plan. If your ritual sacrifice doesn't work the way you want it, you cut out a fetus and you put it into another mom. That's how it works, right? That's how it works, right? So, yeah. That is what this scar is. That is why Murphy... So, the entire chapter is us trying to save Murphy. Because we received an anomalous mission. So, Murphy found this guy, Elton. This fat fuck sailor, And she begged him. He's a smuggler. He smuggles stuff to the cult of Miriam. The, fish people. He's been giving them supplies and resources to the cult the entire time. That's what he's been doing the entire time. He's been smuggling. But then Murphy was like, I don't want to be a mom. Please give me freedom. Blah, blah, blah. Elton, here we go. Yeah, his famous thing is like, so he's also linked to Celeste. It doesn't matter. Celeste helps us along the way. Celeste appears in the story. Doesn't matter. Useless storyline. So, Elton tried to smuggle out Murphy, and we are going to help smuggle out Murphy. Okay? Before the evil birth ritual or whatever. So, on the boat, things happen. Shit happens. Fights happen. Intrigue. Deception. Tulu. And then the key point is, towards the end, Miriam meets Tulu, and Tulu was like, dude, I'm sorry, I lied. There is no future Lemuria. I just lied to make you all happy in the final moments. And Miriam was like, bullshit, you are fake Tulu. I'm trying to resurrect the real Tulu. And she keeps going on with her plan. That's why Miriam did not stop. Tulu tried to make her stop, but she gaslight herself so hard that Tulu knows everything. Was like, nah. You are fake. My Tulu predicted everything, okay? Okay? You're telling me you're Tulu? You just look like him, okay? Tulu did nothing wrong. Now, excuse me, have this weird fucked up ritual to do to resurrect the real Tulu. So that's that. So that's what happens. So that is why Tulu couldn't convince her. She was too far gone. And then she blows up Super Saiyan. Then stuff happens. Then more stuff happens. Then she left the crater. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff happens. We fight monsters. Don't care. Dissolution. Blah, blah, blah. Caucus. We fight Miriam again. And then, final moment. Murphy, let me show you here, is in the archives. Let's go to media. Scroll down. Here we go. Miriam stabs herself. Blah, blah. Murphy. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. The entire time, by the way, Murphy has been raised by Miriam and Goliath for years. So Goliath is like a overprotective dad to Murphy. The whole concept is, even after they become good guys and resurrect them, Goliath is a dad to Murphy, and he's like stalks her to protect her, but he's like tsundere, so he cannot tell her that he actually cares for her, but he's like stalking her and making sure she's safe, and it's like, I will fuck you up if anything happens to Murphy, because he's being an overprotective dad. So that's a fun fact about Goliath. In all these messages, he's a very overprotective dad. So the entire time, he's been secretly trying to help us. Blah, blah. Here we go. Right here. This is the messages Goliath sends us. Hey, I heard Murphy has not been attending classes recently. What's going on? She ate too many little cakes? Enough talk. Did you do something? You sabotaged her. You gave her little cakes. What do you? How is this your beat? I doubt you dare. What's so special? I'll find a chef to make them for her every single day. You don't actually think you're her father, do you? I never expected you to have a fatherly side. Of course, I'll seize one back. So this is basically saying he's going to kidnap a chef to keep as a slave for Murphy. So this is the overprotective dad in his own way. This warlord who tortures and kills people and committed how many genocides is a overprotective dad to Murphy. Hello, police? Okay, I'll buy someone. If you try any funny with Murphy, I'll fuck your shit up. So yeah, the entire thing we're finding out is that Goliath, despite being evil, despite being big talk of like, I'm gonna kill Miriam and take over this whole organization, Batman villain style. He's like that henchman who keeps scheming and plotting, but he actually cares for Murphy the entire time. Like, okay, but I'm evil. But he cannot reveal it to Murphy and everyone because he has that big tough guy persona, you know. I'm a warlord, blah, blah, blah. I rape and pillage. That's all I have on my mind. Pillaging, destroying, dominating the world. But don't you mess with Murphy. So that's the entire thing. And Miriam also grew attached to Murphy, seeing her as her daughter. So she's conflicted. But in the end, her belief in Tulu wins out. So let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Hands. So Goliath. Blah, blah, blah. So Murphy stabs herself in the chest to prevent the fetus from being born. She stabs herself in the chest. That's what the screenshot is about. With Miriam's knife. She stabs herself in the chest right now. And then the baby comes out anyway. Except for it's slightly weaker than what it could have been. Slightly weaker than what it could have been. And we fight the baby. But it's a weaker baby. Okay, my editor just messaged me. Let me respond to him. However long you feel like it. Okay. Other people will watch. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let me continue this video. So, she stabs herself. She comes to unit. We save her. We killed the baby. Because, you know, we are a baby killer. We killed how many orphans and how many babies throughout the entire story scene? Yeah. We just like killing children, okay? That is our premise. So, in the Arc 2 universe, I'm skipping back and forth because that's the latest chapter. The Arc 2 universe. We never saved Murphy. So, she borned out the baby and she became this, Emo Murphy. So, the big plot twist in Arc 2 is that she dies after giving birth to the baby, but the baby resurrects her as an Awakener, as her linker. That is basically the timeline difference here. Because Elton didn't exist in that universe. She was never saved by Mythtag University. Never happened. So that concludes this story. Everyone lives happily ever after, except for this baby. And we resurrect Goliath and Miriam, and they're the good guys now. and she hosts prayer sessions, and she still praises Tulu. Again, that is the story of that chapter. Chapter 7. Another mission. We're going to the desert. We're meeting one of the main gods. Now, chapters 7 through 9, super rush story. Very, 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 very poor writing. Why is it rushed? This was supposed to be 5 chapters, perhaps more, but the game was about to EOS. Not enough players, Arc 1, so they want to rush the story to have a conclusion. That's why the boss designs for chapters 8 and 9 were very rushed. That's why we fight the same boss over and over and over and over again. That's why there's so many repeat bosses. These are very, 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 very rushed chapters story-wise and everything. Very, very, very rushed. So, we meet Dyes and the Eremites. Or the Sand People, as I call them. Because they fucking they're fucking Tuscan Raiders. They're the Sand People. And they're fighting the other Sand People. So, I'm going to make a Star Wars reference. We're going to say... Okay, the good guys are going to be the Jawas. So, Dyes and her people are the Jawas. And we're fighting the Tuscan Raiders. And they're in a war for who knows how long. However, the D-Tide makes the birth rate and stuff happens, blah, blah, blah. Her Dyes is an outer god. And she's connected to whatever god. And to combat it, they make orgies. All the time. That is their culture. So there's a big orgy scene. Not safe for work. That's why this chapter is very safe, not safe for work. That's why their whole thing. She's the fertility goddess, basically. So, they have lots of orgies all the time. Lots of sex. And they came up with it. People try to fuck Riker. So we go help the orgy people. The fucking Jawas who are fucking all the time. Why? Because out of every 100 babies, only a few make it. The solution, rather than finding a cure, is to just have more babies. So they just fuck. They just fuck and fuck and fuck and fuck and fuck. And she gives her superpower that makes the babies grow up real fast. The babies grow up real fast. All the time, yeah. Mother of 1 million offsprings. That's her thing. That's why this is Gooner bait. Yeah. That's her thing. Babies. All the time, every time. That's the solution to have soldiers to fight the everlasting war against the Sand People. Against the Sand People, which we help them fight. And then, bad things happen. We disagree with them. We fight. That's basically it. So, the Sand People have Alba as the thing. So, where's the orgy scene? And one of these is the orgy scene. There's an orgy scene, blah, blah, blah. Some of these monsters, by the way, are vaginas. We fight vaginas, we fight uteruses, and we fight the eggs. You notice why these are shaped the way they are? We're fighting big, giant vaginas. That is why, if you look at her wheel, it's a what is this? Look closely. That is why this game is banned in China. What is this, I wonder? What is this art of, I wonder? I'm curious. I assume you guys know how babies are made. So yeah, that's the entire gimmick. So they have big orgies all the time, and the babies grow up faster. After a week, they're like 14 years old or whatever. They're ready to be child soldiers. So all the soldiers that are fighting are like a month old, probably. So that's how they replenish their soldiers to fight the Eldritch monstrosities. And there's a side plot with N and Riker. Riker is the unit that helps us the entire time. Riker is the unit that helps us. He's an investigator. I'll go over unit lore later. I'm going over main overview lore now. So also, the sculptors summon Jellet. She demolishes No Diff's William. Williams goes missing, opens a tent. Arc 2. We thought he died. He just went to the Arc 2 universe. Because he hears chains, it's Jellet. And Jellet smashes his face in. And this whole Juliet. So, Juliet, for example, during this entire time, is manipulating the Aramites. She's part of a crazy cult. Salvador's Pupo. Or whatever. I don't care. Yeah, the Sand People. Blah, blah, blah. So all this, the wager, and then we fight the Mother Tree. And we break the eyes from her curse. Also, she's shriveled up in a mummy. She tries to fuck us, and also she puts her seed inside of us without our consent. Yeah, she puts the lone seed inside of us, which will come into play later on in the story. That's why we got the new posse, Lone Seed. She puts a baby inside of us. She puts a seed inside of us without our consent. That is rape. So, next chapter, she's one of the 3 gods. Chapter 8. Big rush chapter. The sculptors and stuff invade the university. Erica goes crazy. Hamill, evil, working with the sculptors. Blah, 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 blah. Working with sculptors. Sculptors. They captured people. And then it revealed the entire time, and was behind the scene, that Dexter was not Dexter. The real Dexter, Ramona's dad, died a long time ago. The real Dexter has been dead the entire time. Where's Dexter? Where's Dexter? Where the fuck is Dexter? It's probably... You guys know Dexter, the hot guy. One of these guys. Dexter. The real Dexter, the playboy, adopted father, blah, blah, blah. He's been dead the entire time. It's N. N is from Lovecraftian lore. N is short for N Lovecraftian lore. Let me Google that real quick. It's Nyla. I can't even spell it. Nyla. I'm just typing down random words at this point. Here we go. I'm gonna open up so you can see have some visual here. This is N's true form, the Chaos God or whatever. Nyarlathotep, blah blah blah. Serves several cult, and he's just a Chaos God. He's just a Chaos God. That's basically. He's basically Zinch. Any of you guys Warhammer 40k fans? He's Zinch. He's basically Zinch. He likes chaos. He's involved in a lot of things. So yeah, devil's bargain, blah blah. A demon. He's just watching it for the entertainment. All along. So that is N. He's one of the 3 main gods. Dies, N, and Tawil. And why the sculptors and everyone is after Tawil, Juliet? Because Ramona is Tawil. Ramona was Tawil the entire time. Ramona is an aspect of Tawil. Tawil cannot leave her Blackpool place, so she sends another fragment of herself to be born and grow up, so she can experience the world through Ramona's eyes. So Ramona is part of Tawil. They're the same unit. That's why they have the same base stat line. And if you guys pay attention, it used to be 120, but since the Awakener stat buff, yeah. They have the same stat line. That is why they have the exact same stat line at level 60. So that is why, that's a spoiler alert. They're the same thing. So they sacrifice, they do a weird ritual with Ramona. And Ramona tries to help us the entire time. Chapter 8. And then the twin contradiction. Blah, 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 blah. To make a god or make a ritual. To wake up the real god. Which is chapter 9. Chapter 9. G-Doll from another universe, the Arc 2 universe, comes, fights us. Because she wants to end the world. This is fake Ramona. And we fight the Eye. Because I is the god of the entire universe. We're all in his stream. You cannot beat him. You cannot beat. You cannot beat that person. So we need to team up with all 3 minor gods, En, Thighs, and Tawil. They all give us their gimmicks. That's the whole point of the gimmicks of this arc. You know, Heart of Silver, the 3 gimmicks: Lex Nos, Lex Volus, Lex Genius. Yeah. Reproduction, this is Thighs. This is Tawil. This is Joy, Freedom. This is Chaos. This is En. That is what this gimmick is based off. The 3 minor gods, basically, of this universe. That's why you can breed your cards, all the gimmicks. That is why, to fight the god. Because the god woke up. So, God woke up, and we're all in his dream. We're all in his dream, and he's detailing everything. We're all in his dream, just like the whole Skyrim lore. In case any of you guys are big The Elder Scrolls fan, ever heard of Chim? Any heard of Chim, Elder Scrolls fans? That's basically the lore of this game. We're all part of the thing. Blah, blah, blah. Corruption, Oblivion. Here we go. Let me pull up the Elder Scrolls lore for a second. Chim is a state, because in the entire Elder Scrolls setting, it's also in a dream. I hate when games do this. Oh my gosh, your entire reality is because of a sleeping god is dreaming. If that god ever wakes up, your universe comes to an end. This has been done before, developers. Elder Scrolls did it, and it was dog shit there too. It was dog shit there too. I hate this entire lore premise of we're all in a dream, guys, of some random god. So that's the entire premise, and we find out why we are special. Just like how Ramona is a fragment of Tawil, we're a fragment of Tulu. We're a fragment of them too, but we're a good guy. So we're a fragment of this iBoss too. And at the end, we can't beat him. We play a flute, Ocarina of Time, and we put him back to sleep. And boom, that is the end of Arc 1. We overcome all the difficulties. We put the god back to sleep. And then, boom, multiverse. Arc 2. We go into Arc 2 where the world ended already. World ended. First chapter where we wake up in G-Doll's lab as a brain in a jar. One of her fucked up experiments. We fight G-Doll, we make her good. Or as good as it can be. She reveals that there is no way to stop the outer god from waking up. Because you know why? People thought if we kill all the Awakeners, he cannot wake up. So the premise is that Gnosis index, if there are too many units with high Gnosis index, Tulu notices them. Tulu notices the people, and he starts waking up because the power level of this universe is too high. But she discovers through her research that all of the fish people have a Gnosis index of greater than 13. It's some number. If your Gnosis index is greater than X amount, Tuhuadula notices you. So, she thought if we just kill everyone with a Gnosis index above X value, he never wakes up, we save the world. But then, every fish person is above that limit. It's impossible. He was always going to wake up all along. The end of the world was always going to happen. And she became crazy. That's why she's G-Doll. That's the alternate reality. Mythtag University does not exist in this universe. G-Doll, instead of becoming a professor, becomes crazy. So, also we team up with G-Doll to fight another G-Doll. There's multiple G-Dolls. She has several bodies, multiple brains in a jar. We beat her, Everything's fine. So, chapter 2, we fight that dog shit Clem character with the bug universe. So, in this universe, while bad shit are happening, alien invasion, these dirty Zerg-like insectoid people, these fucking critters, fucking shitty critters, fucking insectoid scum invade our planet. And in this version, this Clem falls to the insect. So now she's an insect person, and we're in her domain, and they want to take over the world. We fight the insect and their hive mind. Blah blah blah. Clem dies, sacrificing again. Another sacrifice story. She remembers how her dad never wants this. Blah blah blah. The past Clem, the previous Clem before she was bugified, before she became a dog shit unit, was like, oh, please, no! Ah, please! Therapy isn't real, folks. Boom. We beat them. Garbage story. Garbage character. Betrayed our country. Cannot fight back. A stupid insectoid. Fell to their machinations of time. Garbage unit. Everything garbage. Yeah. Bug person. She blows up. Also, side plot. Little Willie. So this is Little Willie and Big Willie. We find Little Willie during his entire time. Little Willie without the memory. So this is our William. We discover later it's not a new universal. It's actually our William the entire time. This is Little Willie, his small child life, and we go into his dreams and stuff, the next chapter, and we help him fight his childhood bullies. So we fight children again. So in case you skip the story, like most people skip the story, I don't blame you. I do not enjoy the story a lot. That's why we fight children again. Why do we fight children? Memories. We're fighting Little Willie's bullies in his dreams. He had a flashback and these kids were picking on him. So the solution, we go into the dream and we kill them with our Eldritch Monstrosity units in his dream to protect little Willie. That is the story. That is the story simplified. We fight these children because they were bullying our William. Because, if children bully each other, we should summon monsters, fucking adult superpowered units to bash their face in. That is what we do as a protagonist. Okay? That is what we do, protagonists. We just go help him in the dream and we fight children because they were bullying him. That was all. So, chapter 3. Thorzine's World Castle. So we're going on investigation to find William. William has been here. We found trace of William. We want to find William. And Thorzine is nice. He eats people with consent. Stuff happens. He was a good guy. And boom. The Blue Realm invades the kingdom. And it turns out Thorzine's fucking butler person betrays him because he wants to resurrect his wife, his dead wife all along, into a vampire instead of eating her. So in order to resurrect him, he helped the Blue Realm invade the universe. And the Blue Realm, this alternative Goliath, alternative Caucus, did a weird ritual, and he summons this monster, and that's the monster we fight. With the help of Thorzine. And Thorzine was a chill guy all along. We thought he was evil because he eats people, but we find out he eats people with their consent. It's part of their culture. Their culture is that they eat people to preserve their memories. Are you gonna disparage vampire culture? Okay? I went over the story in a 2-hour video already. They ate them with consent. Okay? If it's with consent, you can eat people. So chapter 4, this was we meet the alternative version of G. Murphy and whatever, where Miriam's plan did succeed, but the big twist is that we're finding out whose domain it is not really a time loop after all, blah blah blah. We fight them, and we fight the buffed up baby. This is the buffed up baby fetus from Chapter 5, Arc 1, if he was actually born and the ritual was successful. That is the Cliff Notes version of it. And in the end, we find out in this universe, it wasn't Miriam's domain. It wasn't G. Murphy's domain all along. It was G. Tulu's domain. Big twist. Big twist. He's a faction of his power because in this universe, Tulu grew up. He's adult Tulu. So he's a god-level entity. He's the most powerful unit in this universe. He's like probably the most powerful entity ever known. And that's what we discovered. That G. Tulu is super strong. And he only used a fragment of his power, Omni-Man style. You know the Omni-Man meme? Look what they need to do, which is a fragment of our power. That's basically G. Tulu in this universe. He did this entire thing with just a fragment of his essence. Just like a random trinket of Tulu from his kingdom caused this entire chapter to happen. He used like 1% of his power to cause the entire events of this chapter. So yeah, that is basically the story recap. So let's go on every unit and their lore. So, let's go over Chaos first. So, I already went over Ramona, but there's G. Ramona. G. Ramona is Ramona from yet another universe. This universe where the Keeper keeps getting skill issued. This is when they keeps pulling on Ultra units and keeps dying, and Ramona keeps time looping to try and save us, but we keep dying over and over and over and over and over again. Because and timeline keeps resetting whenever we die. And we keep dying for who knows how long. And she eventually becomes super strong over the various time loops, and this is Ramona after who knows how long. Our first day, we keep dying over and over again because we decided to pull Ultra units. So that is G. Ramona's lore. And we meet her, we fix the time loop, she visits us from time to time in Ramona's form. That's basically G. Ramona's lore. Nothing else home to write about. So, Ramona, as you all know, part of the will. So, Lotan. Lotan is the mythological whale. That's why she's 25 tons. She's whale. She's a battle-crazed, godlike entity. She's known as Leviathan in Christian culture. So why she's a whale? She is Leviathan. You guys know the story of Leviathan in Christian folklore? That is basically Lotan. Leviathan. Bible. Let me Google that real quick. Hebrew Bible. Yep. Here we go. This is basically Lotan. Leviathan. Hebrew Bible 6 times. Blah, blah, blah. In job. Blah, blah, blah. Except for, in this universe, she adopts a waifu form. This is her waifu form, and she's for battle. That's why she weighs 25 tons. And these are her stories. Yeah, look. Story 1, Monstrous Riverbed. Bone of Chaos. Blah, blah, Bible, 100. Yep. Hannah. Blah, blah, blah. She's basically the gym teacher of the universe. It's basically pretty boring. Yeah, born from chaos. That is basically a Lotan story. He's just a battle-crazed maniac who just hangs out with us because we get into fights a lot. It's that stereotypical trope. She is there because she likes fighting. You don't need know anything else about her lore. She exists because we get into scraps a lot. Fighting cultures, one Cthulhu. Yeah, nothing in it. So, Doll. So, Doll, brain in vat. So, a lot of people are wondering. This is one of the first units that is based off a Lovecraftian creature. What is Doll based off of? The Me-Go. The Me-Go in H.P. Lovecraft's Whisper of the Night. Now, let me Google that for a second so you guys can see what I'm talking about. That is what Doll's design is based off of. A lot of Awakeners have designs based off of things. So Migo Lovecraft. Here we go. Yeah, this is the creature she's based off of. The Migo appears in the story The Whisper in Darkness. They're a creature, winged fungal hands that resemble crustaceans, large claws, and head covered in antenna. So that is why she's part crab. This is why she has crab legs. You see this? Crab legs. Let me switch back. Crab legs. So she was designed after the Migos from that story. So there are a technological, this is from the Lovecraftian wiki itself. Like the technologically advanced race. That's why she's a scientist, professor type in the story. So, in case you were wondering where the design is from, in addition, they're aliens and stuff. But you don't care about that. If they're pink, like a crab, that's why she's pink. The brain in a jar from philosophy. So why is it called brain in a jar? So brain in a jar is actually a philosophy thing. It's brain in a vat, brain in a jar is by Gilbert Herman. Let me Google that real quick to get my sources right. It's by a particular guy. It's a whole philosophy thing. So it's brain in a vat, Gilbert. Is it Gilbert? Here we go. It's a school of thought. So why the company is called Brain and Fat is a school of thought. That's why she's a brain and vat. So this is the whole philosophy thing. Brain and vat, thought experiments, blah, 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 simulating reality. So this is what the entire game or developers is based out of. Yeah, brain and vat, in case you guys are curious. It's an actual concept. So let me go into her in-universe lore. She used to be a normal person, just a teacher, a researcher here. So she is the most stable. She's not the strongest, the most common person. So she was a huge experimenter, a professor, a researcher at Mythtag, secret organization. And then one day she was disillusioned and then she became an Awakener. She died, became an Awakener. And she returned, she became an Awakener, and then she became, this. So basically, the whole thing is funny, is that over time, she is emotionless and heartless. Like everyone, normally, these are a whole story. I just skimmed over real fast. You can slow down the stream to read it if you're curious. But I already read it. I'm just going to explain to you the story and other pieces of lore based on her quotes and everything. So basically, one day, he got sick and she was dying. And oh no, professor is dying. She just researched Awakeners. And the day after she died and became an Awakener, she just went right back to work, continuing experiments like nothing happened. She took her death and rebirth as an Awakener very chill. She's like, I guess I died. Back to work. Back to work. And she puts her brain in a jar and she makes several bodies. That's why she's called Doll. The main brain vat is at the university, hidden away somewhere. And she just has thousands and thousands and thousands of bodies where she can just use wherever. So that's a plot point in one of the early chapters that I skimmed over. We all thought Doll died, but she did not die. She just used the self-destruct option on her dolls, which she built in for some reason when it gets captured. And her real brain was at the school all along. And she's like, that was just one of my many bodies. That was just one of my many bodies. She's like, this is lit. This is lit. Basically, she's the brain in jar. She has no feelings or anything except for reproduction. Doesn't feel. But she loves this. She's stoic. And she just likes experimenting and stuff as a teacher. That's her entire lore. Pretty boring in my opinion. Pretty boring in my opinion. Now, let's go over the next Chaos unit. Who do I go over next? Ogier. Ogier has his own story. Ogier is a little boy. So, What is he based off of? The Invisible Child, or the Invisible Ones in Clark A. Smith, who writes Lovecraftian stories. So let's go to Clark A. Smith. What is it? The Invisible Child. Or it's something on that. Clark Ashton Smith, The Invisible City. It's one. I think maybe it's The Invisible City. It's one of these. So it's from this. Let me pull up my thing on stream real quick. So boom. This is Clark A. Smith. I don't think it's The Invisible City. It's one of Clark A. Smith's work. It's on the tip of my head. If someone on stream right now can find the exact story, it might be The Invisible City. It's one of these. It's the inspiration for Ogier from. So basically, maybe it's the tail. They're based on black slimy creatures without a fixed shape. Maybe it's the tail of Okay, is it the tail? Okay, here we go. Hold up. I need to get Clark A. Smith, tail of. I'm trying to remember. Tail of. Here we go. This is story. This is the story he is based off of. It's so hard to remember these Lovecraftian names, especially if it's been a while since you read them. So, Tale of Septempra Zyros. So, long story short, they are black slimy creatures without a fixed shape. They are basically invisible and they have appendages. So let me zoom out. That is what this. So he was a knight, little Ogier. So there's a little knight in the story risking his life to guard the princess's room. So basically, and that's basically his lore. So he has a whole lore. Let me go in game real quick. That I read. It's one of the better stories. Knight's Wish. So basically, in the past, he was trained to be a knight to protect a princess. Blah, blah. But except for invaders came, the princess was sick the entire time. He was friends with the princess. He suffered and he died trying to defend the princess. Someone pierced him through. And he died protecting the princess. And then he got resurrected. He never grew up to be a true knight. He's basically a loyal. He's basically a cute knight. He loves the princess. Blah, blah, blah. Let me go to the archives. Let me go to the archives and go over this. Where the fuck is this? It's this image. It's thought faster do this way. Where is Ogier? It's one of these. Did I pass it? Willy. Maybe I passed it. Here we go. Nice Wish. So this is what happens to Ogier in his story. He was protecting the princess's bedroom. He got stabbed in the heart. He dies. He got stabbed in the heart and he dies. Big deal. He final moments at the end. Oh yeah, and there's a little bell that rings and from the princess. But the princess died of her illness while he was defending her room. So that's the sad part. Princess died in the middle of his fight anyway. So the guys were like, oh, she died just moments ago. I guess she did not hear your last words. And like he never grew up to be a real knight. He got resurrected. But then all the invaders died because the entire area got de-tided afterwards. And then centuries later, we resurrect him, and now he's training to be a real knight. That's his basic story. He's been guarding a bedroom the entire time. So yeah, that is his story. It's pretty touching. It's basically like the typical story of like, oh, let's make him a knight as a joke. Oh, we're making a princess knight as a joke because she's not a good princess. She's sick and dying. Out of nowhere, like, yeah, let's make this random little boy her knight. But he took his duty very seriously. Maybe it'll make G. Ogier one day and make him an adult. Now, Arita. Her story in game is that, oh yeah, it is no Cthulhu element in her thing. This is no Cthulhu element. She's just a random jellyfish. At least as far as I know, there is no Cthulhu element. She's just named after a jellyfish. She's just a jellyfish. So let me go to Google again, or Brave Search. This is what Arita is named after. The Aurelia Arita. Yeah. Her gland divisions and everything, yeah, based on jellyfish lore. That is it. In case you're wondering what it's based off. She's just based off a jellyfish. Now she has a sad story. Basically, she's dumb as a jellyfish. She's one of the dumbest Awakers in the game. Entire town died, and they got all desoluted, and it was revealed that the town dead, and they all keeping up charade to make her happy. But they all died long ago. She needs friends. A sad story. That's basically her lore. Sad story. Everyone died to make her happy. That is the Flair's Cliff Notes summary of the Arita story. There is nothing more to it there. Nothing more to it. Let's go over another welfare unit. Well, since she's a welfare unit. Actually, let's go back to Chaos. Let's talk about, let's see, Not. So Not. Maybe we'll go after Not later. Let's go after someone new. Let's go after Calf. So Cthulhu Raw is based on an already Lovecraftian unit. It's just spelled wrong. So let's go to the wiki. Yeah. Cthulhu Raw is based off Cthulhu Raw, otherwise known as Cthulhu. Also known as Cthulhu Raw, the Living Flame. This is what Calf is based off of. A giant ball of fire. So they breaks everything. So yeah, that is the Lovecraftian god it's based off. This thing, Cthulhu. Yep, Cthulhu Raw, word for word. It's even the same name. It doesn't take much to figure it out. You can just Google it and figure it out. But in lore, she became trapped in one of N's Chaos God games. She'd been trapped in one of his twisted games. Blah, blah, blah. The sun. She's a mercenary, and all of her units betrayed her because they all got mind warped by N's fucking twisted game in her story. And then she then transforms, and she then vows to destroy N. She has a big vendetta against N the entire time. She hates N with every fiber being because he caused her entire family to die. The whole found family mercenary trope. Very sad side story. Blah, blah, blah. But that's basically her lore. N fucked with her and played games with her. And now she's big mad. Big mad emoji. Big mad. She is extremely mad. Let me go over another. Since we're here, let me go over new units. Any new Chaos units? G-Doll. So, G-Doll is the alternative reality version of R-Doll. Still based on the same crab. She's still crab-like. See? Except for their scythes. And she went crazy because of knowledge and the world ended. However, interesting fact, she's still crazy. Blah, blah, blah. Tornadoes. Everyone unanimously chooses your memory. So, yeah. Basically, we keep her in a random corner of Mythtag since we summoned her. We summoned her and we're keeping her like in a cage or something. Or whatever device. Because she's just a big doomer. She's just a big doomer the entire time. Even after we save her. Even after she became a unit. And like she just tells you. Yeah. Calm face. Her gaze drag you. She just randomly mutters random dark shit, and in this they put her into a brain. Yeah, right here, right here. The restrainer is located deep to ensure that no other instrument in within 30 meters of the restrainer. Yeah, She's locked up in a soundproof room, and they have people monitor her every 60 minutes. Right here in lore. I know how to read the lore, unlike most people, other content creators in the game who can't do shit. I know how to read the fucking lore here. So basically, no one can engage with her because, yeah, here we go. When people try to talk to her, they go crazy because she doom posts so hard, like, your wife is worthless. The world's gonna end. There's nothing you can do about it. You and your family get fucked. You are worthless. You are a piece of shit. That's what I assume she tells them. It doesn't. It's supposed to say what she tells them, but basically, after you talk to her for just a little bit, you go crazy over your doom posting. So people have to wear soundproof earmuffs when you go near her, so she cannot talk to you. Because if she talks to you and she tells you the deep, dark secrets of the world, you go crazy. Maybe she tells them, like, I heard players are pulling for ultra units. You know? Yeah, that is basically the lore. She's still a bad person. She's still a bad person, okay? So anyone that talks to her except for us goes crazy. So she's just in a random soundproof room. That is her lore. What does she say to them? I don't know. Fill in the blanks. What would make you go crazy? Maybe she says your waifu is trash. Okay? Or maybe she goes like, you will never pull that unit. Your gacha luck will be trash forever. Maybe that's what she says. Okay? But yeah, that is her entire lore. So let's go over, let's switch realms for a second. Let's go over Aegis. What is Aegis based off? Not Medusa. All these fucking brain dead people who talk about Medusa, no. It's just a Lovecraftian monster. It's basically a monster that already petrifies. Now, some people are watching my lore stream right now and wondering who is. So take a guess while I Google the monster to show you. So let me Google this fucking monster she's based off of. Those of you who watched my previous lore video already know. I can't pronounce the monster name, so I need to... Here you go. So, guess. Someone in chat got it right. Clockwork Hellcat. It is Gatanoa. Gatanoa, whatever. So, she's based off, and this creature is based off this monster in the HP Lovecraft wiki. See the tentacles? See the mouths? See the thing on her? Yeah, it's based off this creature. So, octopus-eyed in Out of the Aeon story by HP Lovecraft. So, the monster, blah, blah, blah. So, basically, the monster petrifies people out of fear, and that's what her ability is. Her kit and her ability is based off of this monster. Her entire lore based off of that monster. That's what the monster looks like right here. So, that is Aegis. Don't say I don't read the fucking lore, because I do. So, petrifies, monster, blah, 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 self-sacrifice, friends. Again, a lot of her themes are taken from the story it's based off of. Or the story of friendship and whatever. Basically, in the stories they appear in, like, the connections about friendship and bunch of people, sacrifice and live. Yeah, it's a great old one, monster. So basically, her story, y'all know. She's sad, human experiment, orphan eater, sacrifice herself. And she's way, blah, blah. And she's friends with Jenkins. Also, by the way, guys, they tease Caribou here. So, Caribou is an upcoming unit. And she's the next tease Awaker. So after 2 more Awakers is the Caribou chapter. Caribou has already been mentioned here. So those of you old vets would know that Caribou was originally planned for Arc 1. Caribou has been data mined almost over a year ago. Caribou has been in the game files for over a year, the Arc files. And she has been teased for a year now. She was originally going to be an Arc 1 unit before they had to rush the story because of EOS. They had to rush the story because of EOS. So, that is why Caribou is mentioned here. Caribou is, who knows what they're going to do with the story in 4 months from now. But, yeah. That is Aegis, who she's based off. You already know her lore. I'm not going to go over it more. She's basically a child. We resurrect her. She's okay now. She's fine. So, let's go over. We haven't done an Ultra unit. Let's do Ultra units. So Pollux, Castor, these are Greek myths. Pollux and Castor, the twins. So that's basically it. The myths, the twins. That's basically it. Basically, they're part of a cult. And Pollux betrays Castor. Castor was locked in a dungeon or resurrected. And Pollux sins a lot. Needy boy, Castor. That's basically their story. Their story is very boring. I don't like their story as well. It's very boring. It's very standard cult. One betrays the other. Et tu, Brutus, etc. So, let's go over Erica. Erica. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. So, Erica is the least known. It's known as the Awake Consciousness. So, it's basically N TikTok robot. That's basically the only thing that appeals. It's basically one of the robots in Lovecraftian lore. Someone in chat that can probably remind me, because it's been a while. It's based off the robots in Lovecraftian lore. It doesn't matter. But the story itself is original. The story itself is original, but she's basically the TikTok robot in Lovecraftian. So basically, there were 2 scientists. Let's go to archives. There were 2 scientists the entire time. So there's an Erica story which goes over it in depth. Where's the Erica story here? Here we go. This story goes over it in depth. There were 2 scientists. One is a crazy scientist and one is a rational, calm scientist. They got into an argument about their technology and researching the D-Tide. Big explosion happens. They fused into Erica. That's why Erica has her 2 forms mechanically. You know her 2 forms mechanically, retract and whatever. Her 2 forms, let's go. Unleash, retract. Is because there are 2 Ericas, a calm, rational Erica, and a crazy Erica. So, she's been under a lot of drugs and stuff to always be calm mode. The calm mode loses all emotions to keep the crazy Erica, the evil, crazy scientist, under check. That's why we fight Erica in chapter 8, because the crazy one transforms. So she's basically been neutered in mind into a mindless robot in order for the crazy Erica to suppress itself. So basically that is her lore. There's 2 bodies inside one robot. There's 2 bodies inside one robot. So let's go back to one of the worst stories, Nymph. What is Nymph based off of? Ophelia is based off a poem by Rimbaud. Rimbaud. Who in chat knows which poem it is? Rimbaud. It is easy. Let me look up the poem real quick. It is Ophelia. Here we go. Here we go. Let me see. So this is what she's based off of. Ophelia, poem, over the mountains, over the plains, over the rivers, carrying passengers, males, over the mountains, write this poem. Yeah. That is basically one of the things. Oh, no, not that one. Oh, this one, Ophelia. Wrong one. This one, sorry. This is the exact poem. On the calm black waters, a great lily, 1,000 long black rivers, blah, 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 girl, freedom. So that's the whole concept of her being a poem base, is because she's based off of this tragic story. So also a flower, Nymphaea. Yeah, also this flower. Yep, water lily. Leads. So now that you know what she's based off of, let's go over her in-universe lore. She's a Gen Z or millennial. That's all you need to know. She's just depressed. She's just depressed and a big downer all the fucking time in her story. So in the archive story, what happens is when she was born, let's see. She was born, she was sick all the time. She was sick all the time. Her parents locked her up in a room and used all their money to buy her medicine and doctors. Buy her medicines and doctors, and to pass the time, she writes poems. Here we go. Treats every waiter compared to the girl, I'm the luckier one. She writes poem, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. One day, I slowly walked into Werder, never allowed me, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Here to see. Here we go. This is the lore. Basically, the parents spend all their fucking money, and then they spent money, go in debt, she's in a hospital, or whatever, to go on a voyage to find medicine for her. They both die in a shipwreck. To raise money for her treatment. If I wasn't giving such an unfortunate money, I wouldn't have to struggle so much. If only I could vanish into the sea onto a moonlit night. Blah, blah, blah. My parents saw her. She feels bad. Basically, her parents gave her their life, and they all died because she was sick and useless her entire life. They're bankrupt. They lost everything. They're homeless. They're poor because they love Nymphaea so much. And then they died. So what she does is, on one day, she walks into the ocean and killed herself. That is her lore. She was sad and she killed herself. Why does this necessitate making her a unit? I do not know. Her lore is not interesting. She just killed herself. She just walked into the ocean. She writes poems and she killed herself. The millennial dream. Dying. If you're a millennial watching this video, the two people watching this video, you would envy her life because she managed to meet the sweet release of death. I know all of you doom post and joke about suicide all the time if you're a millennial. I mean, we joke about suicide all the time because I'm young. So yeah, and she still writes poems and whatnot. Loves the sea. She's just depressed. That's her lore. That does not necessitate good lore. She's just depressed. Moving on. Moving on. Oh, Alva. Alva's right here. Alva. So, what is she based off of? Probably the Chinese. I talked to Chinese about this. They think it's based on Balthazar's blade or something. Because it's based on her Zord. But I don't know what else it could be based on if not for that. If not for that, let me go overviews. Here we go. Because all these blades, basically a blade in Lovecraft, the great old ones, a mountain, whatever. But I don't know what else it could be based on other than blade. But if anyone knows, they can comment. The two people that actually read Lovecraftian lore. But her thing is, she used to be a soldier for a random country. Port Alexandria, a battle-hardened soldier, blah, blah, blah. And then she lost her leg in a injury in a war. She was a fanatic, this fascist country, starship trooper for years in battle. But after she lost her leg, she's been relegated as a drill instructor. Except for none of them respect her at all because she lost her leg. So all those years of loyalty to the country meant nothing. All those years of loyalty to her country meant nothing. She was abandoned because it's a typical VA story in every country. Whether you're an American, whether you're a Chinese soldier, whether anything. Veterans, especially veterans with, lost limbs are treated like shit by the VA. I know. I'm an accountant, okay? I work with people who were abandoned. I help them with their taxes early on in my career. Florida is a big VA place. People treat veterans like shit. Regardless of which political party you are, neither of them treats veterans well. Okay? Once you serve your country, veterans are treated like shit. Okay? And veterans should be treated better. That's why Jon Stewart gets a W in my book for standing up for vets. They serve our country. I love America. I'm a proud American. We should treat our vets with the utmost respect. They served our country. They protect our freedom and our oil. Our oil. They went over there and got our oil fair and square. Okay? They deserve the best. So that is what happened to Alba. Mistreated by her country. Lost a limb in war. Big sad. Disrespected. Then she went to Thai's country, the orgy lady, and became her guard. And she's treated well as Thai's personal orgy bodyguard. And she grew to love the orgy culture. That is it. That is the thing. And now she only swears loyalty to Thai's. Also, she's an instructor now. It's for Mythtag. Yeah. Not for prosthetic training. Yeah. So this is Alba's story. Blah, blah, blah. Life was simple. Swing your sword. Yeah. Injure leg. Humbled by her injury. Left the army. Yeah. So right now, and then she realized she was serving a fascist, evil country all along. And that she lost her leg for nothing. And all that patriotism means nothing. So that's Alba's lore. A veteran soldier who became crippled. Pretty boring. Pretty boring. So, this next, right, since Pania is right next to it, what is Pania based off? It's a story that's been repeated by the developers a lot. It's repeated by Caddis, the Dreamland, blah, blah. So basically, the Moon Beast. So let me look up that story. Let's see, Moon Beast. I already went over this in another video, so that's how I remember it. Moon Beast Lovecraft. It's probably a better name for it, but there are art that showcase it better. So, here we go. This is what she's probably based off, the Moon Beast. Because the whole prisoner in the Moon Beast. This is probably what she's based off of. I could be wrong, but I think it's based off the Moon Beast. My reasoning why she's based off the Moon Beast is because they are white toad-like creature changes body shape. This looks like a wax, and they're sadistic, and which is she sort of are, and they have slaves. So that is my reasoning. And Pania has slaves and stuff. So basically, her in-game lore, she was a warden in Lungedian's Newgate prison, whatever, and she tortures people. That's basically it. And she has a torture fetish. Except for she's like Momori in Chrono Arc, where she's a bully that cannot stand up for herself. So she gets creeped out by Lei. So that's a fun thing. I'll talk about it. And Sorrel. Sorrel too. So she tries to bully a lot of Awakeners, but when Sorrel passes by Pania's dormitory, Pania falls silent. Watch? Yeah. So Sorrel dominated her. So she tortures and makes people her slaves, like, lick my boot, slave. You know, all those shadows. Some of you freaks love this shit. Some of you freaks are like, whip me please harder, Pania. So yeah, that's what Pania likes to do. Whip of madness. Her entire thing is like, she has a whip fetish. She's like, pretends to be a dominatrix. However, Pania was prisoner. Yeah. Master whip me. The flame of fire desire burning in her eyes. Blah, blah, blah. Whip me, please. But the funny thing is, when she appears in the story, she's freaked out by Lei. Because Lei was like, yes, Pania, whip me harder. Whip me harder. And even Pania is freaked out. Lei was too much of a freak for Pania. Because Lei enjoys it. Because Pania wants to whip people and wants to break them. Lei likes that shit. So Lei counters Pania. So that's her entire lore. Prison warden, evil. So what is Nautilus? Based off the Nautilus boat. It's just a boat 20,000 leagues under the sea, just like Corporal. 20,000 leagues under the sea. That's basically it. Anyway, let's go on her lore. Her lore is that she has dementia. She forgets things. She has short-term memory. That is why this card is called short-term memory. I read the cards. This is why her card is called short-term memory. She became an Awakener, but at the cost of losing her long-term memory. She can only remember things in the short term. So that's her. That's her whole thing. So it's a sad story. Blah blah blah. Sad story. Basically, her and her mom try to build a ship or build something to explore the world. Her mom died, became sick. Her mom was an engineer. Taught her everything she knows. Blah blah blah. But she forgets her mom. Where is it? It says over here. Let me see. Here we go. Her entire story is like her mom. She and her mom had a dream of journeying to the unknown and voyaging and traveling together. Daughter and mom, they love each other. Typical mom-daughter style. Her mom dies of illness, but since she became a Waker, she keeps saying us. Whatever she talks, saying we will queer, we will explore the world, we will accomplish. She keeps speaking on it, but then here you go. Because it is us. Why do I say us? Me and whom? Have I ever? I remember perhaps. My head hurts. So I can't remember. Maybe I'll remember something. The only entry in Nala's notebook. That's the sad story about her whole notebook thing. She's on the cusp of remembering the dreams her and her mom shared, but she never remembers because she keeps forgetting the next day. So yeah, that's her sad story. She forgets about her mom and her entire history and why she is, her love for her mom, but she still always say we have a dream, we will fix it, because she remembers her and her mom working together, blah blah blah. But also, this is a boring story, so blah blah. There you go. She forgets the next day. Yeah, short-term memory. Yeah, oh yeah, here you go. This story is garbage, because short-term memory is not a bad thing for a diligent mechanic. Forgetting which screw was tightened, meaning tightening them all over again, ensuring the equipment maintained by her is more durable. She can make everything last for a decade with just one repair. I have a minor in computer engineering. I know engineers. You can over-tighten a screw, people. Do the developers not know you can over-tighten screws? Like, if you have short-term memory, tighten it every time, 100 times, does not make it better. Do they not know anything about engineering? Over-tightening screws is bad. It's bad at sometimes. It's not good that you forget to tighten a screw. Okay? What is this lore? She's the best repairer. Everything she fixes is good because she forgets. She tightens the screws, so she tightens them again. Oh, she double, triple checks. She sure quadruple checks because she forgets she double checks. That's why she's such a good mechanic, guys. I'm not sure some of you guys are engineers watching this. You know how dog shit this is. You can over tighten something. You can overdo something as an engineer. Okay? Come on, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this lore writing, dude? Okay. Next up, Karen. Let's go over her Lovecraftian lore. It's the servant of Gladius or whatever. Basically, it's Ramsey Campbell story. So let me Google that real quick. It's Ramsey Campbell. What was the story? Dwellers of the Lake. Going over my notes. Dwellers of the Lake. It's based off this story. Here you go. No, it's this one. Found it. This is the story it's based off of. Ramsey Campbell. Cthulhu mythos, blah blah blah, and the monsters inside of this story. Inhabitants of the lake. Spirit beings in the lake. And that's why, let me go back in the game for it. That's why she's related to Backrog, the whole male of the lake lady, the maid. The lady of the lake. That's why we have those males. Let me go over to males real quick. Where the fuck is it? Save males. Here we go. It's one of these. One of these. Here we go. Yeah. Little Maid, Backrog. It's probably a future unit right here. Teased. Hometown. Yeah. So that is what she's based off in her design and everything. Because they are humanoid and they become a zombie-like state. That is basically zombies. Zombies, green zombies. And guess what? She's a green zombie, even though I think she's blue. I consider this blue, but I guess they considered it's green. She's a zombie. Rocky, and she stinks. So, let's go over her lore. She's probably the most twisted Awakener. So, she was always crazy. Karen was always crazy. So, she was basically the hottest girl in her kingdom, you know, in her village. She was like a 10 out of 10 in her village, and she was picked to be a maid of the king. Thing is, the king has many maids, very attractive. So she was basically like an average looking girl in an engineering class. If you're a girl in any computer engineering class, because I was in those classes once upon a time. If you're an average girl there, you're automatically a 10 out of 10. Because they are rare. She was the hottest girl in her engineering class. Okay? Then she went to all the marketing majors. You know? She went to a place where there were marketing majors. All the other girls, which are way hotter than her. In the kingdom. In the maid. And instead of thinking, I guess I wasn't that hot after all. The king is ignoring me. They favor the other maids. I'm just attractive. I'm not super attractive. Instead of thinking that, she was like, the jewelry, the clothes. That is the issue. I get it. It's because they have better earrings than me. It's because they have better clothes than me. I get it. So she starts strangling and serial killing the other maids and jacking their jewelry. I'm not even making this up. That is her lore. She starts strangling and killing and drowning the other maids one by one in secret so she can yank their wardrobe in her story. So, let's see. Here, where is it? Here we go. So, Karen was known for her natural beauty since childhood. As she grew up, gifts and flowers piled up like a door. When the palace steward announced she would be taken to the palace terrain as a king's maid, she wasn't surprised. She was born to be envied. Yeah, in the palace, even the most stunning flower of a small town is ordinary here. She went to a marketing class as an engineering student. If that girl would have it, Karen should too. Why not? Then she notices the girl had dope jewelry. She had dope earrings. All I'm thinking with it, she drowned. She drowned the fucking girl the earrings. And she yanked her earrings. Yeah. And then she just kept killing all the maids for all the jewelry. For all their fucking clothes. That is her lore. She was always twisted. This was her pre-Awakener lore. Okay? She was like, it's not that I'm unattractive. It's because those other bitches across the hall has those nice clothes and jewelry. So I should drown them. I should kill them and get their clothes and their jewelry. That is her entire backstory. Okay? And then on the day of, when she was known as the hottest, because, she killed everyone else. The D-Tide happened and everyone died. That is her story. That is her story. And also, she became Sorrel's maid later, and she sells Sorrel bathwater. It's a nothing burger. Yeah, that was her pre-Awakener story. She was always a bad person. So let's go to Zanga. Here. Sangha. Basically, she was based off people influenced by Cthulhu. It's just basically a Cthulhu thing. Basically, Cthulhu can influence human dreams, in Cthulhu lore. And people get insane. That's her entire story. She becomes slowly enamored with her art, her sculptors, and with Lemuria, and she became a sculptor. That's basically it. She's an artist. She becomes a sculptor herself. That's basically her lore. There's more to it. She was a student. She may have sculpted her friend. She may have been evil. She became crazy. Became a statue. Praise, glory to Lemuria. Nothing else to write home about. It's pretty boring. So, I've been going on for a while. Let's go to Celise. Celise is based off an H.P. Lovecraft story. Now, since I'm live streaming as well, I want chat to guess what Lovecraft story she is while I Google up the story. Because apparently there are some Lovecraft fans in the chat. So, since too slow, I have it done. It's based off this. The White Ship. She's a boat. She's a boat, people. The White Ship. She's based off the story. The White Ship. That is all. There's nothing more to it. And the entire story, and this is where Elton comes up. See the word Elton here? See the word Elton here and Sonanil? It appeared in the story. Elton, the dude that appeared in the Murphy story, she's the guy that saved. And Sonanil, that is basically the entire thing. Copy and pasted. So, let's go back. So, in game, she helps Murphy escapes minorly. Also, she's transparent. The thing is, she's linked with Elton, except for she's very weak and she's very fragile. She can disappear at any moment. She's the only Awakener that can die at any second. She is literally transparent at times. We have to struggle to keep her tangible. So in her archive story, it's revealed, you ignore all this, ghost ship, blah blah, she is so fragile and weak. There we go. She's one of the weakest units in the game, lore wise, because neither her spirit and Gnosis is it. Her power level is so fucking low, she does not meet the average standard to be an Awakener. Her Gnosis insect was so low that she can count like as a unit in lore. So that's why her Gnosis index is question mark and her weight is question mark. She doesn't weigh anything. She's basically transparent. She's very weak and fragile in lore. And like, she's so fucking weak in lore that we have to make a prayer department to do weekly masses to pray and worship her, to keep her tangible. The entire university had to band up together and pray in order to keep her alive. Because she literally is so weak, she's intangible at times. To keep her tangible, we have to pray. That is the whole lore of this. That is her lore, by the way. She is the weakest character in lore by far. Like no other Awaker, or is at risk of disappearing forever, unless we pray. She's literally kept alive by thoughts and prayers. She's the only Awaker kept alive by thoughts and prayers. So let's go over Pharaohs. Pharaohs basically is basically he's basically Rayleigh, a fictional destroy city. So basically, let's go. Oceans, blah blah, pharaohs. So in this lore is hold on. I've been talking for like hours straight, so I need to catch my breath. So this lore, she's a lighthouse. She was with Lemuria for a long time. She was the lighthouse keeper. That's basically it. Except for she's evil. What she does right now is she leads sailors to their deaths. Here we go. Ship lost contracts, blah, blah, blah. So basically, their Bermuda Triangle type lore. Where is it? So she subversively leads people to their doom now. So we need to restrict her from changing the nautical records. So she seems good and nice, but unresolved, she causes the abducting and sacrifice of sailors. So when she changes the maps, coincidentally, it leads to them going missing. By the way, guys, whenever she changes the maps, whenever people follow her directions, they go missing and they die. So we need to keep her from the map room. So yeah, the university has prohibited pharaohs from accessing any ocean-related materials because she kept going in and changing the directions on all the ocean maps so people die. Okay? That's what she still does. Sacrificing people to Lemuria in secret. So yeah, she's still a bad person. that is her lore. So, Caucasus. Caucasus, I already went over it. The deep ones, in-mouth. Let's go just over the in-lore right now. In-lore is he was a half fish person, half human person, and he got bullied, and he tried to swim away from the bullies, and then he drowned because he was retarded. What happens was he tried to swim away from the bullies, but his gills weren't fully developed, so he drowned. That is his lore. And then he got revived, and he worked for Miriam. He worked for Miriam as a henchman, and he's bad with money. That is his lore. Yeah, he was bullied because he's half fish person. Also, fun fact, he's from Ohio. Now, no, it's not a thing. He's literally from Ohio. Where is it? So one of these. One of these. One of these. He is an Awaker. Which one is this? Here we go. The sunset of the hills reminds me of my day in Cleveland. Cleveland. So he is lore-wise from Ohio. He grew up in Cleveland. And he was bullied in Cleveland. He swam. His gills didn't work. He drowned. He died. That's his lore. He was bullied by the Ohio boys. So, Goliath is probably Dagon, which is from the Philistines. This is a Philistine Bible folklore. Yeah, his dark past was he was born in Cleveland. Dagon. Here. So, this is what Goliath is probably based on. Dagon. Philistines, Bible, blah, blah, blah. Also, he talks about Philistines a lot. That's his entire lore. He's Philistines this, the glory of the Philistines that, glory of the Philistines this. You can't get enough. As yet, he's basically a dad. So, he has his own story with a unit that a lot of people in CN, a lot of gay people want to make a unit because apparently they find him hot. I'll show the design of the person all the gays want to make into a unit in a second. So this is his story right here. Basically, his story is the past. He's a warlord. He got betrayed by a big, smaller warlord. And he escaped with his butt buddy. You know, and stuff happens. And he begs for power from Miriam. Miriam cuts off his head and transforms him into a Awakener. And he wrecks. So this is his rival, who succeeded Goliath as leader. This is what the Chinese gays want to make into a unit, because apparently they find him attractive. Now, I'm not gay myself, so I can't tell. Any of you guys find this guy hot? People want to make him a unit forever. Ever since this guy appeared in Goliath's story, people have been simping for this guy. Iglin, this is Goliath's rival, by the way. So they fight. Blah, blah, blah. Goliath ambushed by like a couple thousand people. Goliath, they ganged up on Goliath, and Goliath is a warlord, and that's it. This is Eglin. That's basically Goliath Lord. There's nothing more I don't know. He's just a henchman, warrior henchman. Yeah, warrior henchman, and he's a dad to Murphy. Now, let's go over the freaks. Let's go over Lei. Lei is a freak. The Code Plane people, vampire people, Lord of Mars, blah blah blah. It's based on a Clark A. Smith novel. I already went over this, and I want to finish the video faster. This stream has been going on for how long? How long have I been ranting about lore? 2 hours right now. Holy shit. This is going to be a long video. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. Plateau people. So, Clockwork Hellcat or whatever. You can tell people in chat what is Lei based on. It's based on a Clark A. Smith novel. Her design and everything is based on a Clark A. Smith Lovecraft novel. I'll let you guys figure out. And once you guys figure it out, I will touch upon it. But yeah. Basically, in in-game lore, she's a vampire thing that eats rats. And her brother is a serial killer. So she needs to feast on homeless people to live or something. And her brother became a serial killer to feed her. And she's a huge sadomasochist. I think it's the right term. She's a huge sadomasochist, and she hates herself, but doesn't hates herself enough to off it. Yeah, this is a lore stream for now. So she likes pain. She likes hitting herself. And she's a very popular cosplay unit in CN. So, interesting interaction. Again, she eats people. She captures homeless people. Like this. So she captures after her brother died. No one to feed her homeless person. She starts attacking homeless people, putting them in cage, letting them escape, and try to kill her. Because she wants them to try to kill her. Like, look. Just as girl. Vampire monster. Blah, blah, blah. Large amount of wounds. The praise cheek. Can you hit me harder? Basically, a homeless person escapes. He hits Lei, trying to knock her out. And it was like, next time when you try to escape, can you please hit harder? Kill me, please. And then she just kills people and eats people. So she is such a freak. Yeah, star vampire. She's a star vampire, Lovecraft lore. So, Guardian leading. So, an interesting thing about Lei, she loves pissing people off, so they beat her up. She's a huge troll on campus. She basically says, she's basically the kid that goes around saying the N-word to everyone wanting to get into fights. She basically annoys people and gets them to beat the shit out of her. And the only one that does it is Uvash. So, in this story right here we go. Hurt me. Yeah, she goes around campus going, hurt me. Come on. Beat me up. Most of the times, she just receives glares, confusion, and curses in return. People just tell her to fuck off. No one hurts her. Until she gets what they wanted. Uvash. Uvash beat the shit out of her, caused her to lose teeth. And because Uvash does not give a fuck. Okay, I'll beat the shit out of you. Moving on. But as Uvash walks away, basically orgasms. Be like, I still have plenty of teeth. Take them all. Please, someone, take them all. This is how much of a freak she is. Uvash beat the shit out of her. And she was like, I still have more teeth, Uvash. Come back here. Beat the shit out of me some more. Please beat the shit out of me some more. It's literally here. I'm not making this up. Uvash took her teeth. And she said like, Uvash, I still have more teeth. Please beat me more. Everything she talks to you about, she wants a husband to beat the shit out of her. Okay? She wants people to beat the shit out of her. That's her kink. That's her lore. So next is the dual series. It's Faint and Tinct. Faint and Tinct. Aliens. Color of the Stars. It's based on the H.P. Lovecraft story. Color from the Stars or whatever. Color of the Stars. Let me pull up real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. Colors out of space. Yeah, here we go. Colors out of space. Yep. Faint is a color out of space. Hellcat has been the greatest lore person in this stream. So it's this story. Faint and Tinct. Aliens. So these are filthy, dirty aliens. I don't know why they're in different realms. They're both dirty aliens from another planet. So basically, the planet is basically Krypton. The planet is Krypton. The planet is Krypton. The planet is dying. Meteorite hits it or whatever. And there's one escape pod. You know how the Superman story goes. That's basically the story. But Faint and Tink, while growing up the planet, both were extremely poor. And both sisters sacrificed themselves for another. Because while Faint is very fragile and, whatever, in the hospital and unpopular compared to her sister, Tink, is a singer. She's a very popular singer, attractive singer. She's a singer around the stars, and all the wealthy patrons gave her money and stuff to support her sister. Now, the thing about their story is that both sisters wish that they were never born because they're a burden on the other sister. Faint was like, if only I was never born, Tink can sing and wouldn't have to worry about taking care of me. Tink is like, if I wasn't born. I love Faint. They both love each other so much, and they hate themselves. That's the typical story lore between these two. So, when the planet is doomed, there's only one super escape arc to get out of the planet before the planet blows up or whatever. So, Tink got a ticket from one of her wealthy patrons to get off of the planet. She pushes Faint, basically, puts her onto the ship, and Faint was like, no, why'd you do this? You should be on the ship, not me. Not me. And then sends her to our planet, crash lands. They both got res regardless because of the Silver Key. And they still love each other. That is the story. Superman story. Krypton. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know about that story. Okay. Helot. It's H.P. Lovecraft again. So, Helot is based off of Yes, it, Clockwork Hellcat. You got this. Yeah, Frank threatened to leave her cradle if Tink didn't get on the ship. Okay, Shogoth. That is correct. It's based on Shogoth and the story at the Mountain of Madness in Lilith Zoo. So this is the story at the Mountain of Madness, and that's why her and Jellet's story takes place on the Ice Mountain. Because that is the whole thing. The Himalayas. The Ice Mountain. That is the whole story. Blah, blah, blah. So, they were both slaves. Hellet was a slave for less longer, and Jellet was a slave for longer. They both team up in their story to fight Afumsa. And that's it. We thought Jellet was a bad guy. No. They were fighting Afumsa all along. Researchers. Hellet working with Francis. Stuff happens. She fights Lotan. Finds a new meaning in life. Is free. And Jellet is the alternate reality version, where Hellet is a slave for a lot longer. She was a slave for so long, they cut off her arms. That's why she has no arms. These aren't arms, by the way. These are prosthetics. She was tortured and enslaved for a lot longer. This is the alternate reality version. Also, she was adopted by a noble, and the noble sold her to slavery. So she's also Anakin Skywalker, because when she escaped, she killed everyone, men, women, old people, and the children. She killed everyone in a fit of rage. She's Anakin Skywalker. I killed them all like animals. The woman and the children. So she's Anakin Skywalker. That is basically Jellet's story. She's Anakin Skywalker. Let's go on to the next unit. Agrippa. Agrippa is more of a Roman influence. Let me just go over to Agrippa. Agrippa, the thing is, her parents are slave owners. She grew up in Roman times. She owns Uvash at the time. Katukala, whatever. So yeah, daughter. How can a meek slaves have such audacity? Those who enslave and those who are slaves. She was the daughter of the largest gladiator training ground owner. Blah blah blah. Slave rebellion, foreign term. Only 15. Greatest moneymaker. Then she frees Uvash. Blah blah. Her parents own slaves, and she's like, this slave revolt, and she goes to Uvash. And depending on the story, they kind of retcon the story. She frees Uvash and asks him to kill her, asks him to escape. The story's kind of all over the place. The story's kind of all over the place in regards to Agrippa. So Agrippa, her parents were slave owners. Uvash was her slave with consent. But speaking of Uvash, that's basically it. The labyrinth and stuff doesn't matter. Also, she can't read. She's learning how to read. In one of the later stories, she's actually taking her classes somewhat seriously because she's a rich daughter of slave owners. So she actually did not learn how to read. She's actually canonically illiterate for most of the game. So she's like most of you guys who play gacha games. I understand. She's illiterate. They have to make a they have to make a character the player relates to. She can't read. So let's go to Uvash, which is we already went over it earlier in the stream, earlier in the video. So Uvash is based off of Uvash. Yeah, raided a kitchen. Yeah, Uvash is based off of Uvash. Except for in this world, it's not like a mess of eyes. He's just a hot dude with heart exposed. He's just a warrior from ancient times who's a slave by choice. As weird as it is, he's a slave by choice. He has been a slave forever because he loves fighting. People keep him as a slave. Nero, Caligula, all those Roman empires, he was a slave for who knows how long with consent. Because the slave owners sent him to fight gladiator battles. He loves the battle. He loves the fight. Okay? So, yeah. He's a slave who likes being a slave. Also, he's a big atheist. So, this is Hannah's story. Story 2 is Hannah stalking him for the day. So, he is also an asshole. But he respects consent. So, he argued with a Karen, and he kicked her dog. This is canon lore, by the way. 4:30, he argued with a random Karen, and in response, he kicked her poodle. This is the person Uvash is. He then ate 5 roast lambs. He then went to a fighting club and beat people up. He then went to watch a Jesus play, the Shepherd King. This is Jesus, and got kicked out because he was extremely political. He got kicked out for loud political remarks. In his story, since he's one of the oldest living Awakers that's been alive the entire time, every other Awakener, they were dead for some time, and they were recently resurrected. He has been alive for thousands and thousands of years. He has watched politics and countries rise and fall. So he's extremely political. This is hilarious to me. He browsed the politics subreddit and argues with people. This isn't the type of person Uvash is. He would argue with you about politics, okay? Over and over. Like, he was watching a play, and he was just like, that's wrong. That's not how it happened. Dog shit. That's not how it really happened. Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, this is the type of person he is. He argues about politics. Okay? He also sneaks into hospitals and steals blood. Look, Count Caligula murdered. He was locked in a dungeon. Survived feeding on blood of rats. Then a wizard found him. Then he killed warriors for the wizard. And he drank everyone's blood. Yeah, he just fights. Yeah, he lived for thousands of years, killing and killing and killing and killing and killing and killing. He loves massacring and fighting. He loves battling. That's his whole gimmick, and he's very political. Pickman. Pickman is Pickman. You already know the Lovecraft story. He's just a painter. He's just a painter. Salvador. I'm not gonna go over Salvador. I already ranted about him. I hate his story. His story is the worst story in Morimens. Worst story in game. Worst character lore in the game. He's just a nice priest. And what wanted to meet a nice priest? I meet a nice priest every Sunday going to mass. I meet a nice priest every day. Why not make a good, crazy priest? Like Kotomakure from Fate. We need crazy priests. We need crazy priests in every gacha game. I only like crazy priests. So let's go over what Salvador could have been. If his story was good. If his story was good. He would be Mozgus. He would be this character from Berserk. Good priest design. Good priest design. He would be Kotomakure. He would be Kotomakure. Good priest design. Who else would it be? He would be Alexander Anderson. Alexander Anderson. These are examples of good priests. Okay? Salvador is just a nice person. No skeletons. That's his entire story. He forgives regardless. He forgives you. He's basically Jesus. He forgives everyone. He loves everyone. Nothing bad about him. That's the twist. You think he's evil? He was good the entire time. He was always good. His friend's story. He was good. Like, holy shit. So boring. So boring. He's just a good priest. He's just a good priest. He's just a nice person. So, there we go. Cassia. Probably one of the ends. I don't know where she comes from, but in her story, she's an evil magician. She's an evil magician that made people disappear. That's basically her story. Blah, blah. No one-way exit. Fragile arts. Any ad-limb dismemberment. Yeah. So, when she was born, she was a super genius in mimicry. She can copy anyone's dance after one viewing. She can master anything one time. She can perfectly copy anything. So, she grew up within a circus. No one cared about her happiness. She did not care too. So then she became crazy. She became a crazy magician lady. That is it. Because she was too talented as a kid. Speaking of kids, let's go to Jenkins. Jenkins. Rats in the Walls. Love Lovecraft story. So he's an orphan, or she's an orphan. Jenkins is just Brown's power limiter. So basically, adopted child story. So where is it? Here we go. This is her sad story. I'm not an orphan, said 16-year-old Jenkins. My mom just went to work. She'll pick me up after she's done. She's never wavered, never dared to. This belief was her protective charm. So her mom abandoned her at an orphanage. She cannot remember her mom's face. For spring, she stood by the welfare's home gate. So she stood at the orphanage. I'm not an orphan. 10-year-old. I don't have parents. I only have Brown. She goes up. Hypersive. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not an orphan. I have my sisters, Mason, and my good friend. Mason is 24, by the way. Mason is 24. So, you know this thing? Brown has lived for over 6 years in Canada. Brown, rats don't live that long. Also, in the story, you notice Brown can somehow read documents. Brown is the real Awakener unit. That is my thing. So, when a G unit comes out, it's going to be G Brown. Jenkins is the power limiter. So, yeah, just a sad orphan story who was abandoned. That's basically it. And her only friend is Brown. And now 24 as her sister. Also, she's into scam and she steals things. Yeah. Brown. We don't need anyone. We only need each other, Brown. She did not need whatever. She only has. The only question to answer when Mason adopted her. 24 adopted her is a sad story. Retirement, rat buddy. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's basically her sad story. She's an orphan. Typical orphan story. Boring. Okay, let's go to... right here. Liz. I'm sure Clockwork knows what Liz is based off. It's pretty obvious. Let me Google it for the image. Here we go. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, I'm done pulling it up. This is what Liz is based off of. The Green Flames, Toshka. The Green Flame. Created by H.P. Lovecraft for the story, The Festival. See the Green Flame? Green Flame. Green Flame. That's it. Blazing Ball, Green Flame. And her ability, Green Flame. That's basically it. She's just a dancer, and her theater, her ballet burned down. Yeah. Her ballet burned down, and she did it. She lifting. Okay, let's see. Dates her. Ice good. Blah blah. Glare. Any gem on dust. Who is bursting? Lizette, the girl known. Her name is Lizette. The chorus, Lord Angela, why is she lifting her skirt for that infamous my muse? Yeah. So she burned down the theater. I mean, burn brightly, cleanse it. Yeah. She burned down the theater. She got big mad, dancer. So one thing I don't like, I'm gonna curse you guys all with this knowledge. Her legs do not match up with her body. These are where her legs come from. This is her chest. No anatomy makes this make sense right now. This makes sense. This alternative art, explain this. Oh, sorry. Explain this. The legs does not match up with her body. Okay? It annoys me. This annoys me. This annoys me right now. Yeah. This annoys me hardcore. This art right now annoys me so hard. Well, yeah, that's her story. Burned down the theater. Clem, fucking garbage. Yeah, see how the legs don't match up with her body? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So, let me go to... Yeah. It is cancer. Let me go to Winkle. I already went over Daff in the story. So, Winkle. It's based off the Lovecraft story, Shadow Out of Time. It's basically this entire thing. This is the great race of Yin. They possess the ability to swap minds with another being both in present and future. Library. So that's basically it. It's basically the lore of Winkle. There's not much to Winkle's lore. Is not Winkle's lore. Like, Clem is a dog shit unit. Her lore is dog shit. Everything about her is dog shit. She just falls to the alien Zerg race immediately. Fucking dog shit. So, Winkle. She's basically an alien that took over the body of a student. Yeah, here you go. The body is of an adult, died of illness, and occupied by an alien. And the alien feels uncomfortable inside the body. Because it's not their body. It's gender dysmorphia, I guess. I guess what the kid's saying. Except for there's got to be another word for it. It's basically gender dysmorphia, but with aliens. What do you even call it? Body dysmorphia? Body dysmorphia or something? So basically, the aliens... Winkle is a trans character. It's a trans... This is trans representation. She's a trans... what do you... Trans... race? Trans species? Whatever. So basically, the alien is always uncomfortable inside the body of Winkle. Race dysmorphia? Maybe. Whatever dysmorphia. This is the trans character, okay? This is a trans species, transhuman, trans species character. And she's always complaining about this body feels uncomfortable. This body, I won't want this body. Trans alien, yeah. That is her lore. She's an alien trapped inside this body. And she wants her real body. Or his real body. I don't know what gender the alien is. Maybe it's an unknown gender. Let's call it gender X. She's gender X. We have no idea. She has body dysmorphia. That is her lore. That is her lore. Okay. We already went over Tulu. Cthulhu. Already went over Daffodil being just, We already went over Daffodil being just... Oh, Sorrel. The Red Queen. It's based off the Red Lady. The Red Queen. Lady in Red. You know, the Yellow King. All that terms in Lovecraft. So, I'm going to go Google it. So this picture looks hotter than usual, but sure. This is what Sorel is based off of. That's basically it. That is basically Sorel. Okay. Back to the thing. So, Sorel, she died several times. He's a famous superstar, noble in society, Awakener. We have an entire storyline with her, with N killing her. She made a deal with N or something. Something about her dad. I'm just recapping it. I read it. It's pretty boring. I don't like the story a lot. I don't like her story a lot. This is the Sorel story. Basically, her dad made a deal. Well, she made a deal with N, and then her dad does something, and then there's a murder mystery with Riker, and then discovered that we were the suspect all along because someone took control of our body. N appears. So we killed Sorel to make a loophole in N's contract. Because Sorel died again, so she's no longer bound by the contract. But N is like, I'll get you one day. You and your meddling kids, I'll get you one day. But yeah, we saved Sorel, and now she's our fangirl. That's it. Also, Karen sells Sorel's bathwater. Also, Karen sells Sorel's bathwater. That's a very important part of the story. Lily. I went over Lily's lore in the chapter recap. It's basically it. She was resurrected. Her mom's Francis. Blah, blah, blah. Over. Murphy. Ari went over Murphy. Oh, yeah. Wanda. So, let me Google the thing while chat figures out what Wanda is. So, yeah. So, it's the same thing as. Let me go to this. The Glaki. Aquatic in nature, for some or nothing. So, alien, loot, series of bugs, blah, inhabitants of the lake. This story is what all the spice and stuff, what it's based off. These are her husbands. Charcoal gray alien. No, she's not black. She's just an alien. Dream goddess. So the Glaki summons Earth meteorite and the whole dream guidance. So that's what because they're all about dream guidance, and her ability are dream guidance. So they have spikes and liquid. Guess what? She has spikes and liquid. So, Book of the Glaki. So, let's go over her lore. She has a thing. She was a queen of a kingdom. She was known as a cruel king by neighboring countries, but she's actually a good queen all along. And the kingdom was affected by dissolution. And she made a huge suicide pall where everyone gets dissoluted. Also, all of her husbands betrayed her, and she tortures all of her husbands. Blah, blah, blah. No one knows. But in Dying Monk, she tortures people. She's a cruel king, and these are all of her husbands. So, yeah. Her husbands, blah, blah, use her husbands as whatever. Torture her ex-husbands. Girl boss alien. So, girl boss alien queen. That's basically her story if you read her thing. She's a girl boss alien queen that is queen and cruel, but does care for her subjects, just like every fucking other thing. 24, I already went over. Salvador went over. Thighs, over. Horla. I'll go over Horla. Horla, I don't know where it's from, but her lore is that she's a queen. One's a queen. Okay, Horla. She was a very good poet. She's very, very talented poet. And she has a friend who buys her poems with, let me go to the archives, to the images. There's a whole image story about her. Decent art, I guess. I don't care. I only care about the gameplay. But where the fuck is it? Here. Oh yeah, there's Wanda's kingdom. She's the queen. There's her ballroom. Yeah, her tortured death. So Salvador, just a nice person. Boring. Yeah, this is a Goliath story. Goliath fights against his rival. And then he got his head chopped off. And then became an Awakener. So, that's great. Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it? Here. No. Here we go. Is this Neverland? No. It's somewhere. Yeah, she's killed by her lesbian partner. Yep. It's revealed that the young Colette betrayed her all those years ago and was killed by her lesbian partner. That's basically it. Even though technically, here you go, Colette. Colette, it became old hag Colette. So childhood friend, she brought joy, but Colette became jealous of Corliss' story despite being friends. So she burned her greenhouse down and killed her and stole all of her poems and became rich and famous. And then decades later, we resurrect Horla, we confront Colette, and that's the entire story chapter. Yeah, she suffers from it, and they forgive each other, sort of. And yeah, that's basically it. Tragic lesbian story. Even though nothing indicates that they ever slept with each other. Ari went over Miriam. Oh yeah, Riker. One of my favorite pieces of lore. So Riker. Riker was not always a furry. Riker was known as... Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. So, Riker was the luckiest person IRL. He was born with innate luck. Anything he does, luck happens to favor him. He has never lost a gambling game, never do anything. So he became an investigator. So, when he was a detective, he didn't actually do real detective work. He just no-diffs the criminal. Whenever he investigates, he just happens upon the culprit. He just walks around the crime scene and clues would literally fall into his lap. Clues would literally fall into his lap always. So wait, let's see. And what one of them say? Riker. No, not there. It's in one of these stories. I forgot where it says though. It was fucking hilarious when I read it. Here we go. Lucky detectives. Places a bet he wins 10 times. He has it. Yeah, here we go. He stumbles upon solving many cases just by chance. So he has embraced. He doesn't solve cases by deduction, just by luck. Just a tour of the crime scene and he stumbles across a culprit. Just by walking across the road, he picks up key evidence. For the first 25 years of his life, that was his lore. He's just that lucky. He literally, imagine you just murder someone and the detective didn't even do real detective work. He just walks around and he finds out you did it with the evidence. He just happens across evidence. He could be like walking across the street and evidence will literally fall into his lap. That's how lucky he was as a detective. That is his lore. Riker, this unit. But one day, he found a suspect. N, which is the Chaos God. And he lost for the first time. He lost for the first time against N. promising him to surrender if he won. He lost everything. He kept gambling. Lost his pipe, lost his tie, lost his hat. He was completely naked, and the suspect returned all of his clothes again. Picture's too small. So then, he played Russian roulette. Whole thing. He did. Riker, being the gambler he just said, all in, blew his brains out. He lost the Russian roulette because N is a chaos god. You cannot win gambling against a chaos god. And the chaos god, and revived Riker immediately after Riker lost Russian roulette just to make fun of him. And instead of Riker, being pained, like, oh my gosh, you're a chaos god, in despair, Riker went, what are we gambling on next? I'll get you next time. Okay, 5 out of 10. Just because I blew my brains out doesn't mean I'll win the next. You want to play Russian roulette? I'll pull the fucking trigger again. N was shocked. N, his arrogance piqued N's interest. The demon's interest. Like, the fuck is wrong with this guy? This guy does not give up. This guy does not give up the entire time. He literally blew his brains out in front of N. N resurrected him. And Riker was like, okay, best 2 out of 10. 2 out of 5. Let's do it again. I'm going to win this time. He's a gotcha gamer. Okay? So, do you understand? Like, N... Riker, don't you understand probability? Like, this is how, look, choose 3 hat, best choice. So Riker chose a hat and opened one that was empty. And asked Riker, do you want to change choice? Like, literally, like, it's a cup game. And lifted one of the hats or cup, and below it was nothing. And it was like, do you want to change your choice now? This hat is empty. Riker was like, nah. It's like, Riker, and it was like, do you understand probability? Nah. I believe in my luck. Probability isn't real. Riker's like, probability isn't real guy. I'm gonna win. This even N was like, fucking whatever. So how he got his furry body is that N just happened to have a furry body in hand from one of his other demon bets with a random furry character. And just plop Riker's soul into the furry body. That's basically how Riker became a furry body. And just had a spare furry laying around and just put Riker's soul in it. And Riker was fine with it. Also, by the way, Dexter or N, because Dexter was N disguised, was jealous by Riker and gets really jealous of Riker. And some people say that they have a toxic gay relationship. I do not believe this. There's no indication they have a toxic gay relationship. That's the that's the common fanfic theory. In the Chinese Discord, in the Chinese chat, there are dozens of N Riker fanfics you can find. Everywhere. Even though there's nothing to indicate that they're in love with each other. In my opinion. Okay. So let's go to Hamill. This is my favorite piece of story to look at. So archives. So basically, it's Hunter x Hunter. Any of you guys watch Hunter x Hunter or read Hunter x Hunter? Goated story by a Togashi, Yu Yu Hakusho sequel, basically. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. I love all of his works, Hunter x Hunter. Eventually, in 20 years, I will read the ending of Hunter x Hunter. You know Melody in Hunter x Hunter? Playing the flute that curses him? That is Hamill's lore. So he was a composer. He was a composer who collects music. And he reads a cursed music sheet. A cursed music sheet that transforms him into Hamill. He dies and transforms into Hamill, and his body's hollowed up. That is the lore, period. He reads a cursed music sheet. And he's very strict, and he was a good guy all along. Also, he's a teacher. He's a teacher at the university right now. And he hates all of his students, He's one of the teachers that never gives out A's. But except for he glazes you all of the time. He glazes you all of the time. There you go. Yeah. He glazes you to the students all the time, and he hates all of his students, doesn't give them A's. That is his lore simplified. He reads a cursed music sheet. Okay. Oh my gosh. I already went over Quinn, how garbage is. Let's go over Corpo. Corpo. Thou 20,000 leagues under the sea. The end. That's it. She sailed. The end. Her story is also pretty boring. She sailed. She crashed. Awaker. Okay, went over this. Oh, Dorsey. I have no idea what his Lovecraftian inspiration is from, but he's a vampire. He eats bodies to preserve their memories. It is all with consent. It's their culture. He ate his sister, and he has a kingdom, and his kingdom is really well run. It's the best kingdom in the story. Because you think that they're all evil vampires, but they're actually nice vampires. They just eat people after they die with their consent to preserve their memories forever. That is it. He's a good guy all along. That's his entire chapter lore. So, Murphy. Okay. Okay. So there's also Arachne and Caribou. I'll go over it when they release if people care about the lore. Okay, if this video, they're ghouls, vampires, same thing. If this video, when I release it, get 2,000 or 3,000 views, maybe I'll make another lore video. But that is it. No one will watch this. Like 500, 600 people will watch this. Compared to anything gameplay related I make. Anything gameplay related I make gets thousands of views. Anything lore gets hundreds. And even the other lore tubers don't get a lot of views. No one cares about the lore in this game. No one cares about lore in gacha generally. So that concludes the lore. I went over every unit I believe. All their backstory. I talked so long. All their side stories. That is the brief summary of the lore of Morimens. The end.